Hey everybody, Royal the Lions UK, Matthew Turner, Ash Soden, Ryan McCluskey, just getting set up here to go live on the audio pod. Hope you've had a great weekend and a good Memorial Day too. How you doing, boys? It's been a while.
I'm doing fantastic. Well, fantastic. Slight hangover aside from last night, but we move. It's worth it. First time in Europe, potentially playing European football since I was a wee little lad in primary school. So excited.
It's been a while. And Derek by Barrett coming in, subscribing with Prime for the 14th month. Appreciate that, Derek. Thank you very much. Who says, hi Dan, because Dan Pask is also in the building saying, happy bank holiday weekend. Cheers for streaming. Yeah, bank holidays on both sides of the Atlantic. So, yeah, quite nice. You spent
It is, yeah.
your weekend doing anything fun, or have you been working as always?
Working as always. And then obviously, but except for yesterday, becoming a hooligan for the day.
Explain to the Americans among us why all of this happened.
All of the sports.
Yeah. No, I
Or
mean as
yeah.
in Villa specifically. I know
Oh,
it got into
Venice.
Europe, but like in more
Right.
detail.
So in more detail. So as you can probably tell, because I'm literally wearing the shirt from the last time we won the cup, the 94-95 home shirt. But club I support, Aston Villa, 10, 15 years ago, were consistent like top six. They were where like you think Tottenham Hotspur and that were. But then we got bought by an American, Randy Lerner, who the Americans might know as the former owner of the Cleveland Browns. He bought us, pumped money into the club for a couple of years. And then one day when he discovered that owning a football club over here is not profitable, just cut all funding. Our really big manager, Martin O'Neill, left with like 3 days before the season because of it. And we were in free fall for a good couple of years. Finally went down after 6 years of going around the drain. Spent a couple of years in the Championship, which is the second tier of English football. Came up 4 years ago, a year after nearly going into administration and being folded up as a club. And then yesterday, final day of the season, we beat Brighton 2-1 at home, secure seventh place and the potential to play in Europa Conference League, which is also like one of the European Cup competitions. So it's the first time we'll have European football at Villa Park since 2010, 2011. So ages ago, it's old. When I was in year, so I was in the last year of primary school, so I was about 10, 11 at the time. I'm now turning 25. That's how long it's been. So I'm really excited to potentially go see a Slovakian like Sparta Prague or someone like that come play at Villa Park and just go and scream abuse at them.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. I'm glad the football season's over. I'm just glad the whole thing's done. It's just drained me in a way that nothing else can.
So you haven't put a bid in for those boots then, have you?
No. I'm not putting a bid in anything. Like I said, I've muted a lot of words on Twitter.
Good idea.
I'm glad. Wake me up in like October.
When's the first game of the season? Is it late September?
For us, it's all, I think.
So it's late August, I think, still for us.
What? Sorry for football, but for American football, even like we got that to look forward to. Don't want to fast forward through that.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but yeah, Andy Cook. What a result that is, Ryan.
That is a big signing.
No. 3 years is way too long.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's nearly 33. We've had to do that to beat off League One teams. Shouldn't have given him more than 18 months, 2 years. But we couldn't afford to risk losing him. But if we don't sign anyone to help him, it'll be another year of nothingness. So, yeah, no, they haven't won me over yet. I'm glad to see him back, but they'll take more than that to fool me again. Fool me once, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 5 times in a row. Oh, no.
Shame on everyone.
Yeah, shame on everyone.
All right. I think I am ready. Thanks to Cool Down Rap for subscribing with Prime. 11th month, 3-month streak. Appreciate you, man. That's awesome stuff. And apparently week 1 for the Lions, September 7th.
Oh, yeah, makes sense because the Jets game's on the day.
That's 6 weeks? No, what am I on about? 13 weeks.
Yeah, 13 weeks because this week we marked exactly halfway through the off season. It was like something like 14 Sundays since the Super Bowl, which meant we have 14 left. We're halfway there, lads.
Not long to go. Can't wait. Ryan, we're going to be going through the Lions roster and this little depth chart that I've made and trying to maybe rework it a little bit and then rank them all on franchise cornerstone, quality starter, all that sort of stuff. I don't know if you are able to see the spreadsheet while you're doing this or whether I'll just talk it through with you.
I can't see it, but I'm fine. I can improvise.
Cool.
I know how to grip them.
All right.
I've got a 53 in my head, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll say it live because otherwise people will be a bit mystified if I don't say anything about it. Okay.
Plus, we've got to think of the audio listeners as well, haven't we?
We do. Try and talk them through it a bit. Right,
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Here we go.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to another edition of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 199. OTA your mind. I can't say that. That's poor. My name's Matt, along with Ryan McCluskey, Ashley Soden. How you doing, boys?
Doing good.
I'll be doing better when DeAndre Hopkins signs somewhere that's not Detroit because I don't like him.
Oh, that's going to ruffle some feathers.
I don't like these.
Yeah, I'll bring that up in just a second, actually, when we talk on news. But this is the organised team activities, chat, news, and 53-man roster prediction and evaluation show. So hope you enjoy yourself, everyone. Strap in because it's going to be a really good show. Just to get started off, join our Discord channel. I'll put a link in YouTube and Twitch live chats in just a second. But it's a great place to spend the off-season. Lots of good chat in there, really friendly environment. So come and join us in that. College Football Podcast is back Wednesday, Ryan?
I believe so, yes.
So, on hiatus, but it's back. And I can't remember what the subject is. I don't know if you know, or whether it's all in Ant's head at the moment.
I don't know. It will be a conference preview. So one of 15 conferences. I'm not quite sure yet.
Maybe the Independents, because that's the smallest one of the FBS.
I mean,
nice and easy to ease yourself back in.
I'm not sure. Let's see which one we're going to start with. But now it's with every conference.
Ant is starting, I think, with CUSA. If I have a look at his prep docs, so Conference USA, I think it will be on Wednesday. So check that out as we review all of college football in the run-up to the start of the 2023 season. Please don't forget to like the show, sub to the podcast. You know what to do. You know how much it helps us out. I won't labour the point. Lions Nation Unite has got his Facebook group out now. Please do go and join that and help them. Herman Moore's project to bring the best in content creators for the Lions together. We're a Twitch affiliate and we're monetized on YouTube. So if you do want to help us out, you know what to do. And the feedback form is in the YouTube description down below. If you've got any thoughts about how to improve the podcast, ideas for content, or just want to say hello, please do get in touch with us there. It is Memorial Day today, folks, as we're recording. So just keeping in my thoughts, especially those who've served, those who are serving, thank you very much for your service. News, boys, and perhaps one that's going to split opinion, I'm not sure, but the Lions have signed former Bears offensive lineman Jameson Williams. What do you make of this one? Because I know that a certain member of the team who's not here today has a fairly strong opinion on it, but Ant isn't here today, so what do you guys make of it?
He's been garbage for the last few years, but it's depth. I mean, will he make the team? Maybe not. If he makes the team, do I care? No. As long as he's not on the field, is that fine? Yes. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. I don't ever want to see the guy on the field because he's a big pile of doo-doo. And the odds couldn't wait to jettison him because he blows. But when I look at the current depth of the O-line, does it reek in positions? Yeah. Do I feel good about the depth on the O-line still? God, no. I pray if we get one injury on this O-line, I'm going to sit in a corner and rock and suck my thumb like a baby. Potentially. It's still very worrying. I still don't feel great about the position, even. So I understand why they've done it. It's not the most bizarre move they've made of the week. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. Well, it's veteran depth. I wouldn't say it's good veteran depth because, as we said, it's just he's had some good years, but those were early in his career, round about when he was with Seattle and that. These days, I think last year he barely had any snaps for Atlanta, and that's saying something because Atlanta, like the left side of Atlanta's line, wasn't that good. Their right side's really good, really, really good. That right side line, left side not so much, but he's good. He's good sort of veteran depth for 4 to 5 positions. Like he's played left tackle, right guard, a bit of left guard as well. So good backup, like sort of someone that you can sort of plug and play for a game or two maybe, and not be too unhappy about. But if it's anything more than that, if we have the guard issues like we did last year with the revolving door and you have to trust him for more than 200 snaps in a season, we might be at a bit of an issue. The only time I really want to see him consistently on the field is probably with the field goal unit protecting whoever that is, as we'll come to later. But yeah, cheap veteran signing to maybe help develop the UDFA guys as well, because I know we've got quite a few sort of rookies and guys who haven't really made a jump. So maybe it just could be something like that, a camp body to help the younger guys. If he makes a team, so be it. If not, then we can cut bait and move on with our lives.
I think this is a terrific signing. I really, really do. He's got a contract worth $1.165 million. So that is the veteran minimum. Apparently it counts against the cap $940,000. So you literally can't do cheaper unless you're talking someone who's not a veteran, who hasn't accumulated those 4 accrued years. And you have a look at his career, and he has been, and I think I remember saying this while he was a Bear after 2020, he is basically the league average tackle. And that was like some sort of insult. And it's like, hang on a minute, from 2 years ago, we have the league average tackle as a backup. What a bloody great place to be. And like, okay, fine, he had 8 snaps in a poor Atlanta team last year. Don't know what happened there. And Chicago in 2021, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe, I don't think his play tailed off particularly. Maybe he just got gazumped on the depth chart, or maybe he got injured, but...
Injury, I think it was the
injury.
Bears.
So he got injured, maybe didn't make a great comeback last year. His history has been decidedly average. You know who isn't average? Matt Nelson. Matt Nelson is not average. Matt Nelson is decidedly below average. This is a big upgrade in a position of need where, you know, Decker has had some trouble with injury in the past. He's got positional versatility. He can play 4 spots on the O-line, and it's bargain basement amount of money. So, terrific pickup. Don't want him to see the field, but if he does, I've got confidence that he'll be able to do a reasonable job next year. Let's move on to our next signing, a trade. 2020 conditional 2026 7th rounder for kicker Riley Patterson from Jacksonville, returning to the Lions after being cut at the end of training camp last year. Ryan, let's come back to you first, because you were talking about bizarre moves. I suspect you're talking about this one.
Yeah. Why did we bother getting rid of him? Why did we go through this whole bullshit circle jerking of kickers? Like, what was the point of getting rid of him a year ago? And what's the point of bringing him back now? Because what's wrong with Badgley? And what was the point of signing Parker Romo to just then go get Riley Patterson? Like, I get best man wins the job, but it's just like we had to get rid of someone, some poor sod like Keontae Thompson had to make way, like, which sucks because we were told that guy's a dynamic weapon and maybe could have seen playing time. Well, he's not going to now, is he, unless he comes back, because we brought in another kicker. And we need a net, and do we have a bigger need at outside potential X receiver? Well, yes, we do. And maybe we've lost the depth to make room. So, I'm not overly high on Badgley, but do we need to bring in this amount of competition to try and see him? Probably not. So I refer to my previous point, like, I don't understand why we got rid of Patterson in the first place. I don't really care about the conditional pick, because if you don't make the team, then we're probably going to get it back. I mean, it's probably not going to cost us anything, so it's probably a throwaway, but it's just weird. Like I said, the Lions just have to see him have a weird thing of just like going through endless amount of kickers to just get back where we started. So it seems like a football. Someone's going to win the starting job, and if it's Badgley, then all this just seems redundant.
I kind of agree in a way, but the reason we cut him last year is because he lost the camp battle job to Austin Seibert. He was the incumbent in camp. They had duked it out. Seibert once we cut bait with Riley Patterson. We saw it last year with Matthew Wright as well. He was another one that we've had in for training camp 2 seasons ago, was batting it out, and he lost. He did decent last season, if I remember rightly. Randy Bullock, another guy we've had in who went elsewhere and did decent. Unfortunately, with the NFL, you have your elite kickers like your Justin Tuckers and that. There's a band of like 2 or 3, and then you just get a absolute range of guys who can. One year might be the 10th best kicker in the league. The next one might be 40th. It's like tight end. You have an elite band, and you just have a whole bunch of people who could do really good and could do really bad depending on the year. So yeah, it's just we perhaps didn't want to risk not getting him on the open market, so we sent the least we could do while guaranteeing his services. Could come in and do the job. He's accurate, which is what we want. We value accuracy rather than length because we like going for it more than 50 yards. But when we make it and we are doing out field goals, we want something that can hit it. So if Patterson can be that for us, then yeah, unfortunate for Badgley, he hasn't won the camp battle. He'll probably go somewhere else and get a starting job somewhere else and make us look silly. But the same could go for Patterson. The same could go for Romo. It's just one of those things. And in this year where we're looking to compete, we want all the slim margins we can get over other teams, and kicking's one of them. We've seen in the past with Green Bay, the past couple of years with Mason Crosby and his ghosts. We saw it that year that San Diego back then had the number 1 scoring offense and defense and went and did make the playoffs because of their special teams. We want the greatest margin of victory we can get, and kicking's one of them. So we're just throwing as many darts positions as we can and try and get the best we can. So I'm not too unhappy with the move. It did confuse me when it happened, but at the same time, I'm like, I can see the reasoning. I can see why. And if it works out, then we'll be looking back at it and like a 2026 7th rounder for someone who could make a couple of game winners and be that guy for us who just pushes us over the edge between like a 1-score loss and a 1-score win. I'm all for that.
So like Det Fan Man in the YouTube chat just said, Jeff Risdon of Lions Wire wonders, there's no source to this whatsoever, just wonders if the money badger is potentially the person who might be suspended for gambling, and if so, this move perhaps makes a heck of a lot more sense. But as it stands, if Badgley isn't the guy who is suspended, then I just don't get the move at all. I mean, Badgley last year, 83% field goal completion rate and 100% conversion rate on extra points. Riley Patterson, the starting field goal kicker for the Jags last year, 85.7%, so 2% better, and he missed 1 extra point out of 37. I don't think that's big enough of an uptick in 2%. To warrant giving away any sort of draft capital whatsoever. If Badgley is the guy to go, maybe I get it a little bit more. But kicker is just one of those things that with this point where we are, I'm comfortable picking him up as free agents and just giving him a whirl. And this is what I thought Romo was all about. Like, he proved himself already, albeit in a lower league, but a special teams player of the season in the XFL? So that's why we signed him. So I would have liked to have seen Romo get a shot, to be honest. It seems to kind of make him redundant, and I'm not really sure why he wasn't let go after this move, unless Badgley is the one to go. So we shall see, but I don't get it. Right, let's talk about DeAndre.
For me, kicking as well. Kicker is the only position where it doesn't change what level you play at. You could be a kicker in fucking Greenland, and if you kick a 57-yard field goal outside, you kick it in the NFL. Like I say, the level, like say, kicker, it just doesn't physically change. The only thing that changes is a long snapper getting you the ball. So for me, like say, Parker Romo making loads like 50s, long ranges, I thought that made a lot of sense. Let's see how many field goals we actually kick this year. I reckon it's not many.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk DeAndre Hopkins just to finish this off in news. Lions have been listed as a landing place by multiple outlets, as I think people putting 2 and 2 together with Jameson Williams being suspended for almost half the season for the Lions having some of the most cap space in the league. Apparently DeAndre Hopkins is looking to get paid well. He's also looking for Stable management upstairs, a quarterback who loves the game, brings everyone on board with him and pushes not only himself but the people around him. A great defense, and I think that was the list. And in those things, I think the Lions are fairly well accomplished. Stable management, an ascending defense, shall we say, without going too far about that. But, you know, clearly Jared Goff loves football and does seem to make himself and others better by pushing them as hard as he can. So it would seem like the Lions qualify for DeAndre Hopkins' requirements, but is he going to fit the Lions bill? I mean, we can clearly afford him. Do we want him, boys?
See, we might think that we fit it, but does Hopkins? I know we all think, so specifically it's the Goff point. We obviously, as people who watch the Lions week in, week out, we think we can see Goff fits that. He doesn't have that reputation in the league yet. In LA, all his success was pretty much attributed to to McVay, to the great Pele call. And the same here. You hear around the league, I speak to people day to day at work, if they wear NFL shirts and have a conversation, they think they all think it's Ben Johnson. They don't really give Goff the credit he deserves, and I don't think Nuke will either. And I know, yeah, we have JMO out for half a season. Him and JMO completely different animals in terms of receivers. JMO's a deep threat burner kind of guy. Nuke is more physical, bit better of a route runner, but isn't as fast. Veteran present kind of thing. And I know we've just, as Ryan mentioned earlier, we cut Coyote Thompson, who was supposed to be seen as dynamic weapon, but according to reports, he's actually quite slow and sluggish in camp, and that's probably why they thought he was going to be a really big sort of dynamic weapon for us to cut him. You could be that if he comes here, but I just doubt it's going to be a marriage between the two. I think he'll probably want to go somewhere that's a bit bigger of a market, probably a bit more high profile for him. And we probably don't want to touch someone, an aging wide receiver who's missed quite a lot of games in the past couple of seasons through injuries and through the PED suspension. So I don't think it's going to be quite a matchup between the two of us, unfortunately.
The only thing we've got is money. We've got an average defense. We've not got a defense that can win a championship. I'll stand by that. That might upset Lions fans. We don't have a great defense. We've had a bad defense last year, a terrible defense that finished well. Right now, it's average and on paper could be good. I don't think Nuke's going to look at our defense and go, I'm in. The quarterback, that we can pay him, but we shouldn't pay him. Like I said, a report saying that he was totally healthy in games 16 and 17 last year, finished suspension, didn't play because he didn't want to, because he wanted out. Totally believe those. I think I don't like him. I said, and for 6 games, just give Antoine Green a chance. Or like Josh Reynolds. Like realistically, Josh Reynolds, let's say, is an odd man out right now, I think, in this receiving core. Can you fill in? Like say, I think he can. Do we have to go overpay Hopkins? Like, I reckon you're going to have to give him like 12, 13 million, like a year. Like I say, that's probably with incentives, but that's way too much for me. He'll just use as a stepping stone, and he just seems a bit of an odd character. It's someone that's hard to warm to. I understand, like you said, that his drop rate and his hands are basically glue, and he makes us better in the short term. But I don't know. If they do it, I won't be mad as long as we reap the rewards of it. If he comes in here, acts funny, and they don't gel quickly after 6 games, he has like 200 yards, I will be pissed if he cost us like 11.5 million for that. So it's a risk be reward. I don't think we're on his list as a potential suitor. But if we did get him, it'd be a pretty big coup. It would say a lot about the Lions having pull. So it's kind of when you kind of hope it does happen, just to shut like the fucking Bears fans up. Insufferable twats on Twitter. I'm sick to death of all of them. Like I say, they think they've got the best receiving core in NFC North. But I'd love to see them try a bit of that claim if we signed Hopkins. Yeah, I guess we'll see. The longer it plans out and drags out, kind of feel the more we've got a chance.
Thanks to David Reinfurt70 on Twitch, subscribing at Tier 1. his 15th month in a row, says, hey to you, David. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you. Yeah, Hopkins, I think Ryan hit the nail on the head. It's one of those, I think I'm more indifferent as to whether it happens or not. I think if it happened, I'd be kind of excited because there's no doubt that he raises the floor of the team. And, him alongside Amon-Ra in terms of technicians and in terms of people who, chemistry-wise, probably should fit Goff pretty well. Like, that's pretty neat. Like, Hopkins being that technician and Goff loving throwing with separation. Like, that's a match made in heaven, chemistry-wise. So, I think it would be really cool, but I would be very surprised if Hopkins signs for less than $20 million a year. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but there aren't many free agent wide receivers of his caliber, and there are teams out there who need a guy like that, who have everything else in place. I mean, I kind of think that he could be a great player in Carolina, for example, where they seem to really lack that wide receiver one, and he could be that. So I know they've spent money, but that seems to me to be a great fit. I think there should be a lot of competition for that signature. Whether he's very selective or kind of follows the money a bit more than he's letting on, I don't know, but we shall.
If you tell me I have to give loads of money to Hopkins or give Julio Jones, who's totally washed up, like vet minimum, I will probably get Hopkins, even if it breaks the bank. If I have to pick like one, I'd still take him. Like, even if I didn't want to, just because of, well, you're going to get some production because unfortunately Julio, like, he's slower than my granddad, and God bless his soul, like, he departed this earth quite a few years ago. And Julio's like, he's that bad now. Right, no disrespect to him.
Excellent. Sorry, I can't hide the laughter. Right, final piece of news isn't really to do with the Lions at all, but just to let you guys know that our very own Ryan Farden is running his own giveaway on the Facebook group Detroit Lions Fans UK1 Pride Worldwide. He is raffling off a signed Barry Sanders jersey. It's £5 or $7 per ticket, 55 slots to go. I think 25 are taken already, so there's 30 slots left. Once they're all gone, that'll get raffled off. If you want to join the Facebook group, that's Detroit Lions Fans UK1 Pride Worldwide, and buy a ticket from Ryan. Not to do with us strictly, but I just thought I'd throw that out there in case anyone was interested. Right, OTAs, press conferences, go through the presses. Obviously, there have been quite a few in the last week or so. Just to briefly recap these in case you haven't got the time to listen to that back, to have a look at the cliff notes of what's happened, and then just to chat through OTAs, see if there's anything that's caught our eye. So, first up, the players. Tracy Walker said he kind of needed to be held back because he's so eager to get out there and fully go for it, but he's being held back by the training staff just trying to be smart. 7 months post-op and he's participating in OTAs. He said he was a man of his word. He said he was going to do that, and that's what he's done. He said the Lions are going to make some noise this year and the media should be eating them up, and he will be full go in training camp, but has one surgery or surgeon visit left. It is really encouraging, boys, to see him back and looking quite as sharp as he does. I know a few of the beat writers have complimented him on just how much he's being able to do out there, which is excellent news considering the severity of the injury he had last year.
Yeah, and it's going to be really important to sort of have him back this year because outside of him and Kirby, the safety room, like excluding Branch, CJ Gardner-Johnson, because in my mind they're more nickel corners, but they can play safety. But outside of Tracy and Kirby as true safeties, this room does look a bit bare. So having him back fully fit, raring to go week one, is going to be really important for this defense because he's a tackling machine. He's a leader. He's one of the oldest guys in the secondary. He's been there, done that, and he's got the fire. He's been through the hard times, and now it's his chance to sort of rise like a phoenix from the ashes of the Patricia era and this injury, and then hopefully lead us to glory in this season, potentially the postseason. So I'm really, really excited to see what he's got for us this season.
I think deep down, if I'm honest, I think a little bit part of me is worried for his job going forward in the future. I think he is so eager. Also, Brandon Joseph, let's say, so that it's not like we've not gone out and got loads of, guys that can play safety or like versatile defenders. So that's probably lit a fire under him. Like if I can't get healthy and I can't get back to being a contributor, like my playing time is in danger, and that's not a bad thing. Like I said, that has lit a fire in him. I think, like I said, we've gone out, spent a shed loads on the secondary, and given him loads of no guys to play with. So for him, like he sees this as I could be part of something special. They're trying to turn around this whole unit, and he's like the veteran leader, and he's got to come back and help these guys now. So yeah, and like I say, he's had his payday. Like I say, he needs to come back now, and he feels like I've got to come back and kick some ass now. Like I said, they're looking at me to come back and help these young guys, these new guys. Yeah, they're probably trying to hold him back and not be too eager with him, whereas he wants to just dive in the deep end while he's still got the armbands on.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, because if he goes too hard too soon, rules himself out for much or all of this current season through re-aggravating something. That could be him done in Detroit. I think that his contract was worked so that year 3 was doable with good play, but cuttable if required. If he's out for this season, he's going to have to rework his deal to stay, because he's not going to play on that 3rd year. If he plays well this year, great. But he's got to come back in a way that gives him the best chance to compete in training camp without putting his health at risk. So I'm completely on board with you, Ryan. I think he is scared for his job. At the end of the day, you have a look at who can play nominally at safety, and with him, Kirby, Brandon Joseph, and then the 2 slot cornerback safety hybrid players we have in CJ and Branch, that's not a given Tracy starts. Even this year, it's not a given Tracy starts. If someone told me that you had Kirby Joseph and CJ Gardner-Johnson starting at safety with Branch at nickel, that doesn't sound crazy to me. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think they'll bring on Branch slowly, and I think CJ will be in the slot. But if someone said that is what your starting players are going to be in those 3 positions, that sounds pretty exciting to me. So I wouldn't hate that. And Tracy needs to come back and make an impression. And by all accounts, we'll get onto it in a minute with OTAs, but Melifonwu apparently looks like there's a bit of something there, maybe, which would be incredible. So if Melifonwu...
Smith as well, he's moved to safety too. So
yeah,
it's a deep hole room now.
It is a deep hole room, so there we go. Right, Jameson Williams. And I had my own take on this on Twitter, so if you don't like him, you may want to turn it off for the next couple of minutes. He said, suspension is what it is, just glad to be out there with the guys. He didn't want to stress himself out, the suspension. He said it's not something he was aware of, but it caught him. He said he's not considering appeal, that he did it, and that he's just looking forward to coming back in week 7. On it being unfair, he said it's not my decision whether it is or not. I don't make the rules. It's not my last day on this earth. On social media, he says, I'm not the only guy on Instagram in the NFL. I wouldn't change a thing about what I do. I'm not sure why people are questioning me. It wasn't a shot at Goff to like the Lamar Jackson Twitter post. He says him and Goff are tight, and social media just isn't real life in that way. He was asked about whether he's got to prove anything to the fans, and he said, before I prove it to the fans, I've got to prove it to myself first, that he's got to go out there and make an impression and really show himself that he can do it at this level. And he said he's really trying to improve his route running with perfect feet, trying lots of stuff out, watching loads of tape from other players in the league and people who've been and gone in this league, and incorporating stuff from their route running into his style. For myself, for JMO, I feel very, very strongly about this, because he's had such flack. Someone who's present on social media, he would have seen all the criticism, all the people who think he's a waste of space, who don't think he should be here. He could easily sour on this team and totally check out. And up to this point, I thought it was unfair, but we hadn't really heard from him. And so I wanted to see how he took it. And the journalists, as you can hear from what the sort of responses were, the journalists in the questions did not hang back. They were surrounding him. I wouldn't say hounded, but in all the other player interviews, there were 1 or 2 journalists in shot, and only 1 microphone. He had like 8 in his face. Like it was heavy for a guy of his maturity and someone who's been out for most of his pro career so far. So this was trial by fire. This was an extremely hard moment in his career to face up to all of that and not to kind of dash off. His interview was double the length of anyone else's. So he stood there and took it like a man. And I respect him for just taking it. If you have a look at the way he answered the questions, He wasn't aware of it, but he's not going to appeal it. He doesn't care whether it's unfair or not. He's working really hard, and the OTA chat very much backs that up. That he's unapologetically himself. He's not going to change because some people don't like what he does. At the end of the day, he knows who he is. And I don't know, just extremely mature, I thought. And he's getting his head down and getting on with it. For me, I still have questions about whether he's going to make it, because we haven't seen it. But for what he could do, for what he could show me in that 5 minutes, I thought he came out absolutely brilliantly. Boys, I know it's tough to say what he's going to be in this league, but what do you make of JMO at this point?
I'll go first. Right, I'll break it down into sections. So him saying that he didn't know he was breaking the rules, I'm going to say no comment on that, because neither near or there. Him not appealing, great. That shows maturity. Like I say, he knows that he don't care if it's unfair. Like I say, he understands that they don't make the rules. He just don't break them. The whole Lamar Jackson thing, social media. Like, if I go and like a picture of bloody Megan Fox at an award show, that don't mean I don't want to be a Lorraine anymore, does it? Like, look, it's not about my relationship, is it? Like I say, so him like liking an edit of Lamar Jackson's the Lions quarterback, I don't mean all about Goff. So the whole social media thing is bullshit. If you don't like him, don't follow him. Just mute his name. Just don't talk about him. Just don't look at what he does. You go searching for it and then you get wound up about it. That's just silly, isn't it? I like the fact that he's just keeping his head down in like LTAs and just catching balls. The fact he's addressed it now, I want the media to leave him alone, and I don't want him to talk to the media too much. He's aired like I said, he's addressed it now. He's aired the issue. Everyone, let's just leave it be. Like I said, we know there's potentially another suspension coming, and it's going to rock the boat again with the organisation coming. That is something, like I say, it may irritate me more at the time. We'll see. It does bother me deep down, but yeah, like he's paid his dues. He's got his punishment. He's serving it. All he can do now is between week 1 and 7 is just get his head down and just make sure when he's ready to go week 7, he is catching the first pass that's thrown his way. The moment he steps back on the field, he is in the game. He's in the zone, ready to go. Because what happens between week 7 and 17 will determine his long-term future as a Detroit Lion. If he's checked out or there's something wrong with him, don't be surprised if he is flipped at the end of start of next season. So on the field will determine whether or not he's got what it takes to be here. But yeah, anyone writing him off, just a bit weird. Like, just I don't know. Like I say, just go outside and eat an ice cream. Just chill out. Leave him be.
If anyone's wondering what the snoring noise is, that's Hank. He's asleep on Ryan's lap, especially for the audio pod listeners who can't see it. It's cute as hell. Ash, JMO.
I completely agree with you guys. It might have been that JMO got coached by the team in what to say, but as Riz said on the DLP about it, it shows a lot of maturity and awareness from him, considering this time last year where he would have just let it go over him. He would have thought, I'm the shit. I've just come from Alabama. I know what I'm doing. He's really sat down, listened to the team, understood what he needs to say to sort of give the best impression himself. And he's gone out and said it. And he's shown it on the field as well. As we mentioned at the end, he's been working on his route running. And that's something that was there in college, but perhaps he needs to work on in the pros because he had a culture shock. Perhaps the catching is a bit of work considering some of what's come out of OTAs about him supposedly not catching a couple of balls that he could have done. So one, supposedly, was Sterling Thomas V, who we'll comment to later, was stride for stride for him. Goff sort of underthrew the ball a bit, and instead of going for the ball, James just sort of let it go. Wasn't really showing like the competitive spirit that perhaps we want, especially since no contact. So there's nothing really stopping him. It's not like Sterling Thomas is going to lay him out for trying to go for the ball. But yeah, it's showing a lot of growth and maturity. We're seeing someone who perhaps was a bit boyish coming into the league last year with his sort of flexor personality, which might rub some people the wrong way. But the press conference, he showed real maturity, showed that he's going to learn from this and hopefully never make the mistake again. This is sort of his big moments going from sort of a child to a man. And I'm kind of proud of him to kind of, as you say, stand there in the firing line, take the questions, answer the reporters, and then just get his head down and work at things. I haven't really seen much of him on social media after the suspension. He's done this, and then perhaps he's going to go dark again. And then when he comes back week 7, hopefully, well, on the field week 7, he can come back week 4 training. So he's got that sort of 3-week acclimatization period. He can come in week 7 and just absolutely just torch the defense again, like he did for the Vikings last year. So I'm yeah, as I say, proud of him for taking it.
I think when it gets to the season, people will have to keep expectations in check. He's not going to get, well, he's probably not going to get 1,000 yards in like 10 games. He's going to have down weeks. So if you don't have 100 receiving yards a week, when it comes to the end of the season, people are like, oh, he's a bust. Get rid of him. He didn't come in and light the field up. Like, it's going to be difficult. Like I said, being that far behind, like saying, and trying to catch up. So I'm not going to expect the world of him, but I will expect, I'll be looking more at, like I say, his attitude, how he is on the field when the ball don't come his way. Is he blocking, effort? That's probably what more I will be judging him on when he gets on the field.
I mean, now's prime time for him to develop chemistry with Goff. The thing missing when he came back last year was chemistry. I think, if I remember rightly, he had 11 balls thrown his way, catching 1. And much of that wasn't on him. I think he dropped a couple of those. But I think like 8 of those 11 were uncatchable balls because they weren't on the same page. I want him to come back and look like they're on the same page. If the route running needs a tiny bit of work, if the hands aren't fantastic, okay, that's not ideal. But you've got all this time and you're fit. Show me you can develop chemistry with the quarterback. That's what I want to see the most. Because as you see from someone like Amon-Ra, that's basically the most important thing. There's no point in being the best wide receiver you can be if the quarterback doesn't know what you're doing. So go out there, work hard, come back and just be a net positive to the football team. That's all we ask. Alex Anzalone, really not much there worth mentioning. Most questions on him were about Jack Campbell or about the total defense, but even that wasn't really worth mentioning. He said, the last 10 games of the season last year were how we finished. That's what people are focused on and building on, but there's still work to be done. Fair enough. Big V revealed that he considered retirement after his surgery, but he couldn't leave his guys on the offensive line. He's got a chip on his shoulder and he's still hungry for success, and football is all he knows. He says he's being smart in OTAs in terms of training, but he will be turning it up for training camp. And then he talked about life at home, which I just thought was really cool as an insight. He's got a 260-acre ranch in Houston, Texas. He's got cows and donkeys on his ranch. He enjoyed breeding them for food for his family and, you know, just kind of that idea of things. I've got an idea in my head of Halapulavati Vaitai, the rancher, with a kind of whip in hand and like just directing traffic and stuff like that. That picture makes sense in my head. I can totally see it. But he didn't have to come back. And he didn't have to come back taking a big discount. The love that he showed for his guys, for me, boys, was really telling. And I hope he can stay fit, because that line is so much better with him on it.
100%. And it wasn't just, there was one guy he said instantly, then he said the rest of the O-line. Him and Penne have got such a close bond, because it was him. You read the transcripts, think it's him. I couldn't leave Penne. I couldn't leave my guys. Him and Penne are so tight. And it's shown on the field the past couple of years. Penne is come in. He's had that, Vaitai's been that mentor figure for him. And he's already one of the best tackles in the league. Imagine if Vaitai's healthy for even 90% of the season. Let's say he misses one game. It's going to do so many things for Penne. It's going to do so many things for Frank, who, as we know, has got his toe injury. Just having that stability there. And he's an absolute beast as well as a road grader. And I think in his past couple of seasons, he's only allowed like 1 sack or something silly. So he's not even that bad as a pass protector. It's just the contract he was on, because he was signed as a tackle, was just a bit too much. So taking a pay cut, he didn't have to, but it's a good sign that he's really, as he said, he's hungry for that success. He wants to be with his guys. He wants to do the best for the team all round. So I'm really happy to have him back. If he shows out and that back injury isn't as much as an issue, could we resign him next year? Potentially. But obviously we've got Sorsdal we've drafted as maybe his replacement now. So he's definitely in the sort of almost in a fight to get at least stay here. next year, but he's probably guaranteed a starting spot somewhere else if the back holds up, I think.
I'm not a Vaitai fan. I know everyone knows that. I need him to prove to me that not drafting a guard on day 1 or 2 is the right decision. If something goes wrong and he has a major setback, I will be unhappy that he was retained and they didn't get rid of him to save like $8.5 million. So for me, this is a make or break season for him. Like I said, so yeah, I'm out on him as of right now. I can't be back on him, but he's going to have to show me that he's going to manage the body and there's no lingering health issues.
I mean, he said himself he didn't really know why he was getting injured fairly consistently. He said, I don't think there's anything I'm doing in particular, so I'm just doing what I've done every training camp. So, I mean, maybe that's a positive that he's not doing it to himself, but if he was and he was doing something different, maybe you'd hope he didn't do it to himself again. So, God knows. I got faith, but we'll see. We'll see. That's the last of the players being interviewed this week. In terms of coaches, we had head coach, DC, and special teams coordinator. So Dan Campbell first up said that this is very much a new squad and there's chemistry to develop here. Knowing where they've come from, they can't lose that, but it is like starting over all over again, which I think is a really good mentality to have. That everyone is at OTAs bar a couple of babies being born, so for personal reasons some people are away. Said that they're miles ahead with JMO because they have him in pre-season, but they didn't have him last year. So excited about what this defense can be intelligence-wise and what they can do with that. So expect plenty of disguises, plenty of different formations out there. And also on Laporta and the question on why tight end takes a while to translate in the NFL, he said basically, apart from the quarterback, that's the one position where you need to know everything on offense. And that's just a problem for young tight ends. One of the reasons they actually chose Laporta over some of the other options is that they think he'll be able to do that pretty quickly. So that's Dan Campbell. What do you boys make about those comments and how they pertain to this season?
I agree. Obviously, we have had a bit of roster turnover, especially in the secondary. So there's definitely chemistry that needs to develop there, especially since that was our issue last year, was communication. So hopefully having some cerebral players in Sutton, in Mosley, in CJ, in Branch, Tracy coming back, help the communication on the back end, help stop the coverage busts that kind of plagued us a bit last year, and help that chemistry develop quickly because we kind of need it to, because we're going up against the best quarterback in the league week 1. So we kind of need that there. Agree with Jamer as well. Obviously, helps having preseason. Hurts a bit not having him for the first 6 weeks. But as he said, we'll get him the reps. He's got sort of that full off season to develop, which obviously helps with that rookie jump. We saw it with Aiden. Last year he had a bit of baby fat on him. This year he looks like a Terminator. It's mad. And yeah, agree on tight end as well. Like, you need to know the protections. You need to know run blocking schemes. You know how to run routes and everything. And well, Laporte is perfect for that, because you remember he was asked in his sort of post-draft interview and before the media was asked, oh yeah, what happened to the combine interview? And he says, they told me a play and then had to recant it, and I drew it up on the board and said everything perfectly. So Laporte is very athletic enough, but he's got it up there as well. He's got the brains, and that's something you really need for tight ends to make a good transition. So I've got faith in him being a weapon by season's end, maybe, probably not early, because there is still that bit like he does need that integration time. But come the end of the season, if he's our tight end 1 and he's got 500, 600 yards and about 5-6 touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think he'll be tight end 1 by mid-season. I genuinely think his ceiling is that much higher than Brock. Like I say, Brock is a tight end 2 that has been forced into a tight end 1 role, and I genuinely think that might suit him better. I say it's very interesting, like I say, because this organisation, it's taken some incredible heat for the draft. Lots and lots of people detest what they did. Like I say, they came under some serious fire. And they know, like I say, with the positions and who they took in, brought in free agency, there's a lot of chemistry to build. Like I say, so they understand, and they're well aware that there are. He's basically said there's going to be some teething issues. Like I say, when you basically replace the secondary, and he understands that is a big key part of improving on last year. It's a defense starting better than they did last year, because if we start slow this year, like Aaron Glenn, honestly, by 6 weeks, I'd pack his bags. If things have started badly, he's a goner. So yeah, Dan understands that there is connections that need to be built there. So yeah, he didn't say anything wrong, and so far, everything I've seen him so far is fine. Like you say, a lot of interceptions by Jared Goff, but in LTAs, I don't really give a shit about stuff like that. Like people out there like are already picking up at like, I don't care. OTAs don't mean anything for a starting quarterback. They're literally just out there tossing pigskins to just guys. So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary that's been said.
I mean, not that it's a point as to, oh, it's a good thing Jared Goff is throwing bad balls and getting picked off. It's kind of good for the defense to have a run-up against someone who isn't firing on all cylinders and actually has the opportunity to make plays. Like, that's good for the defense. So while I'd like Goff to be playing better, at least there are some redeeming features to that. Quickly, thanks to I Can Help on Twitch for subscribing to Prime. His 4th month. Appreciate you. He said, I wish this could be set to automatic. Me too, man. But there we go. Laporte will be tight end 1 week 1 for me. I don't really see any barrier to him doing that. Clearly going to be at least physically up there with Brock Wright, but also just potentially a much better receiver and as good a blocker for me. So I don't see any problems with him taking on that role early, but we'll see. I don't mind who takes that role week 1, to be honest. But that's what I expect. And just not saying, oh yeah, look at how well we did last year, we're just going to run that back, and recognizing that it is a new team and to rebuild that team through this off-season progress. Like, what amazes me time after time after time for all the players and the coaching staff is humility. They're all humble people who are like, got to prove it every day, got to come in and do your job and next man up and all those sorts of narratives that you hear from people but don't actually necessarily see in their actions. Every single time they demonstrate it. And I just think that's fantastic. That is the thing which is going to keep you ahead of the chains every single week and making progress, is if you're realizing we ain't the finished article yet. So long may that attitude continue. Aaron Glenn, he said about total defense, with the upgrades on defense, they'd better be at least as good as the last 10 games of last year. Love that attitude. On Hutchinson, he said he's going to be better than last year, just doing the things he does best in terms of working hard, etc. On Levi, he said, can't say until he gets on the field, but he will have a chance to compete. We drafted him for a reason. On Ali McNeil, he said you can see his mindset change in how his body looks now. On Pascal, he said, no OTAs or training camp and only 8 games played last year. We are expecting a significant step by him this season. On Broderick Martin, he says, he reminds you physically of Linval Joseph, and if he can be that, then wow. Which I think is a bit of dreaming by Aaron, but there we go. Ryan, what do you make of Aaron Glenn and his comments on the defense?
Well, for his own sake, he's probably hoping that they play like last 10 games last season. He knows, like you say, that where this organisation is, if things don't go well, heads will have to roll. And Aubrey Pleasant's head, well, ended up being a smashed watermelon. He'll be next on the chopping block. So he's got to get them ready for week 1. He knows that he is on a hot seat. He's on a warm seat. He's on a gentle simmer. But within 5 or 6 weeks, that could be like a full-on, like say, slow cooker, 3-4 hour burner. But yeah. So Levi, sorry, you're not fooling me. I still don't expect to see him play. I still don't think he'll play for the Lions. I've just accepted it. If he does, great. If he don't, okay. Swing and a miss. Hutch is growing a mullet, I think, by the way, as well. I'm pretty sure he said he's growing his hair. He's got something planned. It looks like a mullet. He's growing the back out. I hope it looks like a full-on Decker. He's going to look good. Broderick Martin, I'm interested. Like I say, that's a bold claim to make. Like I say, I didn't like the pick, but he certainly could be one of the guys that does surprise me this year, depending on how they see him played. And at Liam McNeil, he's one of my favourite players. I hope he makes a bigger jump again. Like I said, I want him to become the best player on this defence and an absolute stalwart in the middle, and I believe he can. So yeah, I've got high aspirations for this defense, and that will also make me extra cynical and have very high expectations. If they don't meet them, then I will come out guns blazing.
Fair enough. Agree. He needs to at least match last year's last 10 games to sort of keep his job. For me, he is very much on that sort of, if his career could go one of two ways in a way, and either way he's leaving the team. Either this team does make that jump, we become 15th, 16th in the league, that secondary really comes together and we get there and he finally gets a head coaching job, or it doesn't, we're in the doldrums and we have to kind of move him on and start again with a new defensive coordinator, John Scott maybe, Calvin Shepherd, two names to sort of throw out there, at least on the staff. On Hutch, as I said earlier, baby fats come off him, looks a lot better, and he'll probably never be, as people keep saying, never be that 15 sack a year kind of guy, but he's going to be top 10, 15 in sacks, pressures, run stops, tackles, all those kind of things. He's going to be that kind of player for us. And up to fair, most of our edges are, like Kamish is famous for that as well. He always wants to open it up for the person on the other side to get the sack rather than get it himself, kind of thing. We have that mentality on the defensive line, and I can see it, us building on it this year and going next step. Agree with Levi as well. I remember I was on the stream way back when we first drafted him. We were all a bit confused. As it really turned out, I've probably cursed that pick forever, and I apologize, but we've moved on since then. We've got Aleem in the free tech now. Attention, I have high expectations for him, but unfortunately, because of the way that the tackle is, he's probably never going to be like a Chris Jones in that, but he can be very, very damn good for us. And for him to drop something like 20% body fat, supposedly, to go down to 12%, and still keep that weight, that's insane. He was already twinkle toes, according to Dan. What's he now? Frank Sinatra? Is he just going to be absolutely dance people out like pass centers and stuff? And I can't wait to see Pascal. I was kind of high at the pick last year, sort of that positional, flexible, big DE who can slide inside on passing downs. And it's true, to have him in training camp and that, and to him not have to deal with a sports hernia, to have Kamish to learn off for a bit longer, and to go on the other side of Houston, Hutchinson, Charles Harris fully healthy, things will hopefully open up for him, and we'll see that rookie jump from him. And I can see the Linval Joseph comparison for Broderick Martin physically. And obviously if people have heard the Detroit Lions podcast interview him as well, he is a very, very good guy to listen, speak to. His side story where he was getting ready for a draft party for the next day, gets the phone call and literally runs down 5 flights of stairs to tell his mum because he can't be asked to wait for the lift. Absolutely lovely guy. Obviously, playing for his brother who unfortunately passed away, and it quite like the DLP's question about him, like, oh yeah, have you got any charitable causes that you want to work towards and all that? Going to be a great pillar of the community for us, going to fit right into this defensive line room. And if in a couple of years' time we look back and he is that kind of really good nose tackle with some pass rush flexibility and all that, really it'd be a steal of a pick in the 3rd round. So I've not high expectations, but I've got really good hopes for him as a person and as a player. So I'm excited to see what this defense can be.
Shout out to Chris and Riaz and the DLP as well for that. And also just for having that charitable mindset. Because some people do it for a month. Some people do it all year round. And what they've done with Seatbelt Gang for Jerry, and, who knows what, but with Broderick, maybe they make something that could be huge too. I did miss out a player once, so I'll swing back to Aiden's after we talked Dave Phipp. He actually surprised me first up by saying he didn't think that the new fair catch kickoff rule was going to change very much in the NFL. He said teams are still going to return kicks, but he doesn't know all the rules yet in terms of how kicks are affected. So say if there's a personal foul penalty and you take a kickoff from the 50, is there still going to be a coming out to the 25 with a fair catch? As far as I understand the rules, it will still come out to the 25. Yeah. So affecting a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff is basically redundant now. Like, there's no point in even taking it. So whatever. But he said, if you kick to the 10, people are still going to return it. If you kick to the 5, it's a decision. Then beyond that, probably going to take a fair catch. Okay, so you've moved the line 5 yards, but otherwise everything's the same. Fine, whatever, don't care. He said he's comfortable with the 2 kickers he had in the room, 2 kickers at the time, and doesn't need a vet addition, but of course they traded for Riley Patterson later on after that interview in that day. He said that Gibbs is an option for kick returner depending on his offensive role. He also mentioned Jermar Jefferson and Craig Reynolds as other options for kick returner. He also said JMO is an option at gunner, but again, it's dependent on role on the offense. Again, boys, thoughts on Dave Phipp? He seems to be, for me, potentially, and I know this sounds ridiculous considering our coaching staff, potentially my favourite coach of them all here.
We all know I'm a big special teams guy, and I love Dave Phipp. He's really good interview. Again, going back to Detroit Lions podcast, his interview with him at the Senior Bowl, he was playing with all the buttons and that. That's just my kind of guy. Just wants to mess around, find out what stuff does, kind of fuck around, find out kind of guy. I love him. And yeah, I completely agree with what he says. When the kickoff rule came in, I was a bit, but he's right. As he says, all we've really done is sort of move that line forward 5 yards. Yeah, kick returners now might get the nickname, oh yeah, fair catchers. They're all to do is going to do that. You're still going to have teams trying to return them, as you say, if it's up short. If they scoop the kick and the returner thinks they got a crease to go down, they're still going to go for it. Might not work. They might come back in FA, might get tackled at the 23, or they might blitz it and get a kickoff return touchdown. It's not really going to change that much. As for the kick as well, we've already been through that. So what? And then, yeah, all the different roles. We've come into later and looking at the roster, but he listed like 9 guys for kick return and gunner, and that's what, like, so Gibbs, yeah, studied in college. He was doing like second in kick return and yards average when he was at Georgia Tech. He was Alabama's leading kick returner last year. Craig Reynolds has done it last year in the offseason. Jermar Jefferson's obviously trying to develop his special teams value to get himself a roster spot as RB4. Greg Bell supposedly has been taking a few, and he's looked the fastest of the running backs, sort of like reserve running backs. So he's an option there as well. And then Gunner, Gemma did it in college. You've got Starlin Thomas V, who's this blazing 4.26 speed guy. You've got Jerry, who's done it. If he's not a starter, he can do it. You've got Will Harris. You've got all these different players. He's just so many options to play with, and excited to see how things turn out for it. Because as we all know, I'm the special teams nerd. I absolutely love it. And to sort of tag it on, because it's probably mentioned here, Brian Branch at personal protector is definitely an interesting one because he's got the brain for it. Not as fast as CJ Moore, but that's what you need for a personal protector. Someone that understands the punt protection coverages and does his thing to protect the punter. I'm happy if we don't have to do as many sort of hand it straight to the personal protector and run it kind of play fakes. I don't mind. Like, they're a bit weird anyway. We want to pump up Jack Fox's numbers. We want to make him a way better quarterback. Well, just prove he's a way better quarterback than Justin Fields is. So we need those numbers pumped up, please.
It shouldn't matter what their role is in offense. You get the best guys that have got college experience returning, Gibbs and Jammer. If they're not on it, then they're not doing their job properly. The coaches, they're not putting in his position to win. Like I said, if you can give me a choice of Gibbs on it, like Reynolds, just put Jameer Gibbs on it. Like I said, we now have to justify taking him at 12, and that means we have to manufacture touches for him, and that means returning kicks. Since like Agnew, our return game outside of Raymond has been weak. Like I said, it's just not been good. It's just not been anything that can spark up or light a game, especially on punt return. It's just not been there. So on punts, we definitely have to get our best guys touching the ball. And Jameson Williams shouldn't just walk straight in and be the star again. Maybe he should earn it. Maybe he should return some kicks. Like I say, if someone like has stepped up, like Antoine Green, don't just bench the kid. Like I say, make Jameson do some of the dirty work, like on special teams. So we need to give our star guys, and I don't care if that means putting them in harm's way. Football is a physical, dangerous sport. I don't give a shit about player safety, so changing the kickoff rule for me just annoys me. Stop trying to make things less fun. Or at least, if you're going to trial it, which is a trial, try what the XFL have done, which is actually quite interesting, where they're lined up together and you can't move until the ball's caught. At least there's still then a reason to return, and you still get good returns. And so, yeah. So it's there's things to do. I don't like this trial. If it don't work, they'll probably try something else. But yeah. And kickers, it's just funny that he said he didn't want anyone else and then we got someone. That just unfortunate timing, but obviously they clearly didn't consult him when they did it. Or he really didn't see it coming. Fair enough. I'd say so. Yeah, special teams I'd like to see improve in return this year. I'd say Khalif Raymond was pretty good on kick return. He was like top 6, 7 in yardage. I'd say he was pretty good. I remember Khalif, but punts we need to get better return.
It was the opposite way around. Khalif was the punter. It was Justin Jackson. He was 3rd in the league on kick return yardage, and then Khalif was 5th. So
yeah, I'd like
how much better can we get returning? We first in both.
Yes.
Yep. Thanks to Mike the Marine subscribing at Tier 1 on Twitch. His 3rd month in a row. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. Right, wheeling round to the last one because I missed out Aiden Hutchinson. He said he lost strength last year through the season. He's worked really hard to keep it now during this off-season period. He said a full off-season instead of draft preparation really helps. He said the staff are pushing for the right now, as in to win right now. And that's really exciting in terms of retooling on defense and investing capital, free agent and draft talent. He said in the off-season he's changed his routine. Said he's visualizing every day. He's meditating. He's got a chef in instead of having takeout after every session. He said it wasn't any good for inflammation. And he also said there's no sack total race this year. The sacks will come with just playing well together in a complementary fashion. Love that mentality, as well as, sack races are all well and good, but it's all very selfish. And actually, at the end of the day, total sacks on the team probably is a big indicator of how we're doing rather than individual things. So I'm all about that. Interesting for him to note, losing strength during the season, which I just didn't think that would be a thing. Like, you've got to figure that kind of that's go time when everything's happening and you're keeping yourself in top shape. But I guess the stress of the season and 17 games versus a 12-game college season, it's longer, harder. I mean, he played the most snaps of any rookie bar one ever, right, on D-line. Yep. So no one had it harder than he did, so maybe it shouldn't be surprising. But boys, that really took me aback.
Yeah, as someone who was... Yeah, say someone who goes to the gym.
5 games in the NFL. And if you mention, it sounds like his diet might have been a bit poor. He wasn't ready for the lifestyle change. So I can imagine, say, when we drafted him, we said, high energy, relentless motor at 12 games at college. Not 17 NFL games, where you need to be careful. Maybe at college, after you could eat, you could have a kebab after a game. I don't think many NFL players do that anymore. Go out for a big chicken tikka, a doner and naan. That's probably not what they're accustomed to now, but yeah. And the sack totals, I agree. If he goes out and gets 13.5 sacks, but the rest of the line does terrible, that's a failure. But if everyone gets 5 sacks, every player that plays on defensive line, that's a success. So not every team has a TJ Watt, but even a TJ Watt does not say that your D-line is a success just because he gets 17 sacks. So I agree that he's never going to be a consistent 16, 17, 18 guy, but he might get you 10, 3 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery touchdown. He will collectively get them. He's never going to be a sack artist, and I don't think that's why they drafted him.
Completely agree. If anyone's going to be the sort of sack artist, obviously going to be James Houston. That's what we set him up to be. We get him those one-on-ones and just let him go with his unique blend of speed, height, and sort of dip and that. It's amazing. But yeah, so I'll go back to the first point. I can see why, because, as you said, 17-game season, diet wasn't probably the best. You just sort of just get tired and you just push that little less energy in week on week, and you do sort of lose the strength. There's someone to go, I try to go to the gym as often as I can. Sometimes, if I've been one day, the next day I go, and sometimes it's a bit harder for me to pick up those dumbbells, and I have to sort of go one weight down than I did the day before because it's just residual tiredness. So I can understand it, but said if he's worked on sort of keeping it up, he's worked out a training regime that sort of keeps him level in terms of that energy and that ability and effort. I'm all for it. And for him, as I say, for him to sort of say, yeah, it's all together now. That's the mentality they want on the D-line. They want violence and they want collaboration. That's what the assistant defensive line coach, Cam Davis, said on the Tim Twentyman in Twentyman in the Huddle podcast this week. They had him on to sort of discuss the D-line and that. Also, he says, I preach violence and I preach collaboration. That's why he loves players like Kamish, like Hutchinson, like Aline, because they're about the whole rather than themselves. There are some players out there who are more about the self and pushing for them. Cough, a certain Cowboys player who tweeted about 5 minutes ago because his favorite barber's closed. Oh, yeah, I'll just go bold instead of getting a haircut. Focus on the self, not naming any names. I just love this collaboration that is on the defense, and it just spreads across our organization. We've seen it with Brad and Dan wearing their T-shirts. We see it on the D-line now with them collaborating. It's just a really good atmosphere to be in.
That's the end of the chat on the OTA press conferences that have happened. We've got training camp coming up pretty damn quick, so that's mandatory. So there'll be more press conferences then. So if you haven't got the time to listen to all of the pressers, we will recap them here. There's some interesting tidbits coming out from them. I don't think they're necessarily worth the 3.5 hours that the whole thing is probably to watch wire to wire, but in terms of the cliff notes, I do think there's something you can take from those. And a comment from Kool-Aid Kid directly to Ryan saying, they say people and their pets start to resemble each other. Any opinions? With Hank on his mouth.
I think so. Also, right, don't shoot me anyone, but I'm just going to say the whole like wearing each other's faces, I think is really corny and I hate it. I don't want us to become gimmicky. I don't like it. It's cute, but no, like, come on. You're grown men. Like, me and my girlfriend don't wear T-shirts with each other's faces on when we go on a night out, so we know we're taken. That's kind of like the weird vibes. I don't like it. It was fun last year. I'd like to be more villain now, not Dumb and Dumber. I didn't like that move. It seemed a bit silly. So as long as we don't see that again, but yeah, I don't want us to become the butt of a joke again or become gimmicky like that.
That fan man says about the violent comment, he said, forgive me, but this whole violence thing about the defensive line play seems quite tardy. Plainly, shouldn't it have always been this way? I mean, fire the non-violent defensive line coach immediately. I get what you're saying, but I think it's a new coach coming and stating his mentality. So I'm not going to hate it on it. I think that we have been that way before. He's just reiterating what we all know about this. Right. OTA chat finished. We're going to come on to our 53-man roster predictions now, just after Darth Tater on Twitch subscribed to Prime, his second month in a row, 3 months total, saying Kings in the North. So,
yes.
Yeah, I love it. It's coming. Just a quick note, mid-pod to say, if you guys can do anything for us in terms of supporting the show, YouTube monetized, so super chats, all that good stuff, and Twitch subscriptions like lots of people have done tonight. Thank you all for those. They go towards paying for the pod, because obviously this isn't free for us to do, but more than that, any surplus which we're generating between now and the draft next year is going to go towards supporting us getting out there, maybe doing an event of some kind. We'll be there Monday to Monday with the draft Thursday to Saturday. At least some of us will be. Some of us will be kind of doing bits and pieces of that, but I think the majority of us are planning to come over, so if you are going to, get in touch. If you want to go for drinks and stuff, I'm sure we're going to be doing something in Metro Detroit and maybe in the suburbs somewhere as well, because we're staying, well, I think we're pretty near the Motown Museum, so we're pretty central. So looking forward to seeing you guys in just under a year's time. Right, it's time to do the 53-man roster prediction, and this is going to be interesting for me because I've got to rejig my setup here. If you're on the audio pod, I'm going to try and describe things as best as I can, but this might be best seen on the YouTube or Twitch chat just as we're going through this so you can see visually what we're going on, because I've got a depth chart and we're going to color code it as well depending on what we think about these players so we can evaluate the roster strength as well. So bear with me for 2 minutes while I do this. There's that. Hopefully That's good enough. All right, so here's the Lions roster, and it is separated out into its various position groups. I have tried to separate the players in terms of the specific position that they're going to play. Obviously, some players do have multiple roles they can play, so I've just put them in one group, even though they very clearly can play in others. So we have X, Y, and Z wide receiver positions. We have rush end and big defensive end positions. We've got Mike backer, and we've got Will linebacker, which I've called MLB and ILB, and then we've got the Jack linebacker role as well. We've got the 2 outside cornerbacks in the nickelback role, 2 safety roles, and then the kicker, punter, and long snapper battles. And then we've got the color coding. We're going to be ranking these guys in terms of these particular buckets. I've borrowed this from the Locked On NFL Scouting podcast. We did have a guest from there recently. They are doing each roster in this way in their series right now. 32 episodes for 32 teams, ranking teams in this way. So if you're interested, go and check that out. And I've borrowed the format for the depth chart from Eric Schlitt, although I've made this one myself this morning. So if you want more from Eric, do go and subscribe to his Patreon because it's really good stuff. The buckets are for players: roster cornerstone, quality starter, average starter, quality backup, replacement level player, incomplete evaluation, rookie, practice squad level player, or not roster worthy player. So we need to go ahead and rank these players. We need to pick the players that we think are going to make the 53. Obviously, we can maybe pick some practice squad players as well. The idea for this is maybe ranking their caliber in terms of where we think they're at, and then trying to make the 53-man roster work. I have kind of put this into some sort of order, but it's not strictly true, and this is part of what we're going to debate right now. So, don't think that the initial order is very much set in stone with this. Right, let's start at the most important and probably quite easy situation at quarterback. The room at the moment: Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, 3rd round pick, Nate Sudfeld, and Adrian Martinez, UDFA. So, boys, in terms of rank 1, 2, 3, 4, I have Goff, Hooker, Sudfeld, Martinez. Any debate on that order, assuming when fully fit?
No, I agree with that order 100%.
Unfortunately, yeah, I agree.
All right, Jared Goff. Which bucket do you think he falls into? I would say probably we're looking at either roster cornerstone, quality starter, average starter here, depending on your thoughts with Goff. What do you think he is right now?
Quality starter.
I am of agreement. He can work his way, I would say, into roster cornerstone this season. But whether he is able to do that or not, I don't know. The bloody colours are different to Google Sheets from what I've done otherwise. So apologies.
Do you want me to do it?
No, it's okay. Well, if you want to do it while we're going, that would be great. If you can, and I'll chat. Right. So Jared Goff is... Sorry, I've done it in green as well, and I meant to do it in yellow. Quality starter. There we go. Hendon Hooker. So he's going to go straight in the rookie basket because he hasn't done anything yet. So we're just kind of giving that first-year player a clean slate. Nate Sudfeld. What bucket does he belong in?
Replacement level for me. He's not exactly a quality backup, but he's also not like incomplete or rookie or maybe practice squad level, but he's in between roster, replacement level backup and practice squad for me.
I wouldn't even have him on the roster.
Ooh.
I think considering that he's been a backup at a lot of spots so far in his career, I think that he probably deserves a roster-worthy caliber. I would say I don't think he's a quality backup. I think he's the epitome of a replacement level player.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's at. It's definitely not incomplete evaluation. He's too far into his career here. I think replacement level or practice squad level is where he's at. But
Yeah,
Ryan, would you argue for not roster worthy? Do you think he's bad enough to not even be on the practice squad?
Yes. I genuinely, like, if everyone was healthy, don't think he'd even make the practice squad. But I'm happy putting him on the practice squad.
Practice squad it is then.
All right. Practice squad. And then Adrian Martinez, rookie.
He has to go there. Like you say, I have to take personal preference out of it. I've got to be logical.
All right. Yeah. We'll come back to the 53-man after we've kind of completed this, I think, because it will inform what we're doing here. Running backs. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Craig Reynolds, Mohamed Ibrahim, Jermar Jefferson, Greg Bell, and Jason Kabinda I've put in this bracket. I note that on Pride of Detroit, Eric Schlitt has put him among the tight ends. I know that he can potentially play some tight end as a super back, but I would argue his role's a bit more akin to running back than tight end, so I've put him here. Gibbs and Ibrahim are rookies, so they get the rookie tab. David Montgomery.
Quality starter.
Yeah, I agree. Craig Reynolds. I would say quality.
Incomplete?
I would say quality backup.
Replacement.
I'm not going to argue too hard.
Because how many snaps is he? Like, honestly, I know we've had preseason, but how many actual game snaps has he taken? That's my thing. Like, we've seen Jermar Jefferson have like 1.5 games, Craig 1 game.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not going to argue with that. Incomplete eval seems fair. Right, Jermar Jefferson.
Practice squad,
yeah.
I would argue incomplete.
I can take incomplete as well, yeah.
I mean, so, like, practice squad. He had an injury hit first year. When he played, he actually looked pretty good, had a couple of touchdowns, then got injured again, and then last year was practice squad, really didn't see much from him. Like, have we seen enough to say he's a practice squad level player? I don't know.
Exactly, he's had a game and a half because it was Pittsburgh, wasn't it? We had that massive, long touchdown run and all that. So we've seen tiny bits of him, but yeah, we haven't seen enough of him. He barely played last year, to Ant's discontinuation, because he absolutely loves the guy.
We're annoying Geordie Manchin, who wanted Jermar as an average or starter or quality backup.
Sorry.
He can't be made out of paper mache and glass. So, yeah, we'll go maybe incomplete.
Right, Greg Bell. Obviously was a UDFA last year, had a very good training camp, then got injured between training camp and the start of the season. He is meant to be having a really good training camp or OTA period right now. But for me, it's also another incomplete evaluation. He's basically a rookie and hasn't taken a snap.
Agree.
See, it's hard, the difference between incomplete and practice squad. To me, they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, can I put him on a roster? Absolutely not. Do I know that he was the fastest player at camp last year at like nearly 24 miles an hour? He set up one of the league records here. I'd stash him. But, like I say, he's had a devastating injury. So I suppose incomplete because the injury he had was bad.
I guess incomplete really is for kind of rookies or rookies with injury history who are maybe a couple of years into their career, whereas practice squad level players are like vets who aren't good enough to make the main roster, who we've kind of seen enough from. So not to spoil anything, but there's a certain wide receiver that's going to be going in there who might be in there for the rest of his career because he's that good every single year. We know exactly who he is. Jason Kabinda. What do we reckon?
I don't have a place for a fullback anymore, and he's not a tight end. I'm not keeping him.
You're not keeping him for the 53-man roster, but what would you put him in terms of the buckets?
Practice squad. I know people have an affinity with him, and he'll get poached, but I just can't justify a 53-man place for him anymore. So I'll put him on the practice squad, and if he gets picked off, so be it.
I would have Kabinda. So I'm big on Kabinda. I always have been. But last year, I didn't think he was great. I'm going to put him at replacement level, personally. I think he's
Same.
the epitome of what you might be able to pick up at fullback in free agency.
Yeah, same.
People commenting in the chat, Ash saying Craig Reynolds is the wrong colour. What did we decide he was? Quality backup, was it?
It was incomplete, wasn't it?
Incomplete eval, so pink. Or whatever that is. Horrible pastel colour. Apologies for that. Still wrong colour.
Yeah, no. It's one of the custom ones, and it's either side of the yellow, but there you go, it's done.
Sorry, there we go. Right. Let's go for tight end. Let's go tight end, and then we'll go wide receiver group. So, tight end room, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, James Mitchell, Shane Zylstra, Derek Dees Jr. Sam Laporta, folks.
Rookie.
Is a rookie. Indeed he is. Brock Wright.
Replacement level.
I'd say quality backup.
Well, quality backup, yeah. He's not a starter. And on most teams, he's not a starter, so I can live with quality backup.
Yeah, I can go for quality backup. James Mitchell. I would say incomplete here.
Incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete.
Shane Zylstra. I would say practice squad level.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for doing that to him, but
it doesn't help as well. He's cutting the weight and trying to swap position. That tells me he's worried about his role on the team.
So Defan Man has just commented about the fact he dropped weight to 215. He says, now a wide receiver. Now, the wide receiver move was speculated, but as far as I'm aware at the moment, he is still training with the tight ends. So that's why he's listed as a tight end.
Also, losing 20 pounds isn't necessarily a good thing for people. That's a lot of weight.
It's a lot.
You can lose a lot with that. The practice squad, yeah.
The players I'm missing on the roster are being shouted out to me, so thank you for that. I can't remember the name of the international player we have.
That's Max Percher because the Aussie tight end got let go because of the medical issue, so it's Max Percher who's on the left tackle for us.
You're right. There we go. Right. Derek Dees Jr., for me, is the epitome of a practice squad level player. But he's probably incomplete eval because
I don't like this incomplete category. I don't know why whoever created this.
It
seems like a place to just put people that you don't know what to do with, and I don't like that. I feel like I'm not being fair to them.
Actually, to be fair, I might even say not roster worthy.
I was about to say not roster worthy. Like, saw bits of him in training camp last year, basically there for the memes.
He's not been injured, has it? He's just not made an impact. So yeah,
he hasn't made an impact. Yeah.
All right.
That's our last one there.
So wide receivers, like I said, these players have been slotted into what I think they're going to play on this team. They have flexibility. They've gone in one bucket. So if they're not quite in the right place for where you see them, apologies, but you just have to make a decision on where for a lot of these. So X wide receiver, the first name on the list is someone I don't even think should be here. In fact, I don't think any of these guys should potentially be on this list. But someone's got to play at X. Josh Reynolds, Antoine Green, Trey Benson, Chase Cotter. Basically because they're the guys I think can play the position, not naturally, but, you know. Green and Cotter are rookies, so Josh Reynolds.
Replacement.
Yeah.
Quality backup.
No, I don't see quality. He was brought in to make an impact, and he's gone off a cliff. He made Goff happy, but I just don't see it anymore.
For me, he would be wide receiver 4 on most teams in the league. So for me, that's quality backup. That's like definition of quality backup. Is not a wide receiver 1, 2, 3 for a team, but as a wide receiver 4, he'd probably make most teams. That's how I see it. So that's why I'm saying quality backup for me, because Bears. Let's just look at the teams on the division. Vikings, he'd be their wide receiver 3. Packers, probably their wide receiver 3, and Bears wide receiver 3, 4.
No, I don't think he's even the Vikings 3. I think KJ Osborne would bump him down.
Yeah, I'd probably take KJ Osborne as well. We had a really good year last year. Give me a sec and let me just have a look at the people available at wide receiver right now in free agency.
When you list it like that, the X position is worrying.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, wide receivers available right now. I'm ignoring DeAndre Hopkins because that's an outlier. Kenny Golladay, Julio Jones, Byron Pringle, Jarvis Landry, and Keel Harry, Sammy Watkins, Andre Roberts, Brashad Perryman, Rashad Higgins, DeMarcus Robinson, Jake Kumaro, Quintez Cephas. He's kind of somewhere in the middle of that to me. Maybe slightly better than the majority of those.
Yeah.
So maybe he's awkwardly in the middle of those two buckets, and maybe if I had to push goes to shove, maybe quality backup, but he's like the low end of that bucket for me.
See, because here's my reasoning, and it's PFF, so it's not exactly perfect. Out of 113 receivers, so that's basically like wide receiver 1s to 4. Reynolds was 79th, so that's firmly in like wide receiver 3 territory for PFF. So I'm not saying he's going to be exactly even an average starter, but for us, like quality, you won't be too fussed chucking men out there on like 20, 25 snaps a game. If he's playing a load like he has to for us to cut us a couple of weeks, I'm upset. But the end of the season, he's probably going to be getting that 15, 20 snaps, maybe some special teams.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do that and crack on. Trinity Benson, I'm going to say practice squad level player.
Yeah.
All right. Wide receivers or slot wide receivers? I've got in here Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, and Tom Kennedy. No rookies, thankfully, in this one. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Cornerstone.
It's unbelievable to me that someone picked in the 4th round 2 years ago can already be listed as a roster cornerstone in the middle of his rookie deal, but Amon-Ra has done it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player. Roster cornerstone. Khalif Raymond.
Quality starter.
Whoa!
I can see how you can say that because punt return.
I think he brings a lot to his team.
If we factor in special teams, his quality starter, if it's just him as a wide receiver, average starter to quality backup.
I would say average starter. I think the way that he finished last year as a wide receiver, I think he pulled in some really good balls. He showed that he could do something at X, never mind Y and Z. So versatility and production and the special teams upside is definitely at least average starter to me.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
I can agree with that, yeah.
Tom Kennedy, easy practice.
Easy. Yep, there, done.
I mean, he might be the most replacement level player ever because we replace him all the time. But okay. Z wide receivers. Jameson Williams, obviously to come back, but he's still in this bucket. Marvin Jones, Maurice Alexander, and Dylan Drummond, rookie. Jameson Williams.
Incomplete.
Yeah.
I just can't give him anything other than that right now.
Yeah. Marvin Jones.
Average starter?
Average starter, yeah. We're talking like year 34, so I can't say quality anymore. I think he'll do a job.
I would argue for quality backup. Reason...
I've forgotten how to categorize, like, say, the Cardinals.
No, so, like...
Quality backup.
He got let go from the Jags, who have plenty of strength and depth at wide receiver, but he wasn't able to get his way into much of that team for much of the season. He was great for the Lions first stint round, and he's going to be a consummate professional, but I think he's in a battle to make the roster, like a little bit, low-key. Like, he'll be a great vet presence in there, but I don't know. If J-Mo was there, and it was a battle between Marvin Jones and Antoine Green to make the roster, can you call that?
Yeah.
That's unfair because I'll take the rookie contract.
Yeah, I would as well. Probably.
I like Jerry Antoine Green up on practice squad. I think for the first, as long as we have to look at this, let's say with Jamo not being here, Marvin Jones could be a key factor for 6 weeks.
Yeah, all right.
Then he rides the bench. So yeah, quality backup then.
Okay, cool. Quality backup then, Ash.
Yeah.
I realised that the colours are not exactly massively distinct. They were much better on Microsoft Office than they were on Google, but never mind. Maurice Alexander is, for me, not roster-worthy.
And I would have practice squad.
I've just never seen it with him, personally,
See,
even
again,
at practice
it's
squad.
in fact just at wide receiver maybe, but again, as you can tell, these lower level ones you've got to factor in special teams as well. I think, and he was quality in the XFL last season, and then we brought him in. He was like their best returner. So in return game, he can do things. It's just it really develop the receiver stuff to keep himself on a roster. So that's for me, practice squad. But I can
All right.
I can
No, I can
take
see
roster
that.
believer. I will always fight for my special teamers.
Ryan, you agree?
Yeah, we really don't have that much practice squad. We've listed Seattle, Pop Maurice on practice squad.
All right, cool. Offensive line, starting at left, going to right. So starting with left tackle, I've got Taylor Decker, Matt Nelson, Darren Paolo, Max Percher. Taylor Decker.
This is going to be fun.
Quality starter.
Yeah.
No longer cornerstone.
He would have been cornerstone in previous years, but for me, yeah,
He
quality
did,
starter.
the contract catching up with him.
Matt Nelson.
Not rosterable.
No, don't be silly.
I'm joking.
Replacement level.
Replacement level.
I would argue practice squad level, actually. Reason being, I'm higher on Jermaine Ifedi and no one else wanted him. And that's therefore replacement level to me. Don't know, Ifedi or Nelson. Had this debate earlier. What do you think?
Probably a Fede. Like Nelson just seems to be making like a 6-man package sometimes.
I won't argue too much about it. Replacement level's fine at this level.
We can have practice. We can put practice squad.
No, that's fine. We can have multiple people at a practice squad level. Just because there's one person better than him in the same bucket doesn't mean much. Darren Paolo, get him out of here. Don't need him on the practice squads. Not roster worthy.
Yeah, shoot him out of cannon.
He'll be back though.
Max Percher obviously had some play on the main roster in LA, but not a huge amount.
Because it's kind of hard because, like I say, we don't have to do anything with him, do we? Like, he's definitely not ready. Like I say, he can just sit on his extra practice squad, I suppose.
Practice squad, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Left guard, Jonah Jackson, Coyote Awasika, and Connor Galvin. Now, I've put Galvin in here because although he was a 5-year starter at left tackle at Baylor, given his size, given his arms, I do project him inside. I know that he's playing at tackle at the moment, but I do think this is where he'll end up in the pros. Obviously, he's a rookie, so we're not going to grade him. Jonah Jackson.
Quality starter.
I agree.
Yes, because I don't think he's going to stay. I don't think they're going to extend him. So quality starter. I can't put him in cornerstone.
No.
I think he's outgrown us.
Cody's replacement level.
Yeah, I agree.
Urging on practice squad.
Yeah, replacement. Like I say, he played a bit when he had to.
Yeah.
Right, centre. Frank Ragnow, Ross Pierschbacher, and Brad Cecil, I think it is.
Cecil.
Because it's American. Frank Ragnow.
Cornerstone.
Agreed. Roster cornerstone, Frank Ragnow. Ross Pierschbacher.
Practice squad.
I think it's
Cecil.
I think he's replacement level.
I think
maybe Cecil's close to supposedly overtaking him in Motiers already, though. From some of the reports I've heard.
I mean, like I said, he's been around for like Houston so long. I've never seen enough. I'd say almost incomplete. I really can't comment on him.
Fair. I can go.
Like you said, the difference between incomplete and practice squad is so small. Let's go practice squad.
We'll stick him on there, yeah. We need to say that.
And then Cecil is rookie, so doesn't get ranked. Right guard, we've got Halapulavasi Vaitai, Graham Glasgow. He's Glasgow. Everyone calls him Glasgow. He is Glasgow. That's his name. Colby Sorsdal, rookie, and Logan Stenberg, who still is here. Halapulavati Vaitai. I would say average starter.
Yeah,
I think
average now.
average trending up if he's fit, but he's
Yeah.
hurt by the injury, and who knows whether he comes back as the player he was, because in 2021 he was great. But Graham Glasgow. I almost did it again. Glasgow.
Average starter.
Agree. Colby, like I said, is rookie. Logan Stenberg.
Yeah, not worthy of the team. Not worthy to be on the roster anymore.
I
Thank
would
God
argue
Ant
that he's
isn't
a
here to hear
practice
that.
squad player.
Practice squad for me as well.
We've always been
He's-
fearful that he would be claimed, which is why we haven't actually cut him, because we've wanted to see if he can develop. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's ever shown that he's the caliber of someone who should be on this team on the main roster. But there's still hope.
And they give it their cross training at centre again. They're giving him every chance to make the roster as a sort of 9th, 10th O lineman, and for that, he's okay. Road grading at guard. He's definitely got the ceiling there. Well, no, he's got the ceiling there. It's about the floor for him. The floor isn't quite there yet, but he could get there as a practice squad maybe.
Right tackle. Penei Sewell, Jermaine Ifedi, and Ryan Swoboda. Swoboda, obviously a rookie. Penei Sewell.
Cornerstone.
Agree.
Your left tackle.
Yeah, cornerstone.
Yeah.
And Jermaine Ifedi, I would say, actually, I don't even think he's replacement level. I'd say he's quality backup.
Average starter.
Or
I'd go quality backup.
I think he was an average starter until the last 2 years where he barely played
Yeah.
because of injury and stuff. So I think he's bumped down a level but could trend up if he's given a chance.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, that's our offense done and dusted. We're now moving on into the defensive side of the ball, and we'll start from the left-hand side of the defensive line through to the right. And we start with the big defensive end, hand in the dirt defensive end. So five pushing 7 technique. And here we've got Romeo Okwara, Josh Pascal, and John Kaminsky. So Romeo Okwara.
Average starter.
Average starter, quality backup.
Yeah, I go average starter as well. When he was on the field, he was so damn good.
Say that, but yeah, where we are now.
Yeah. Josh Pascal, I would argue incomplete at this point.
Incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete.
And Kaminsky, I would argue, is also an average starter.
Yeah.
All right. That looks better than I thought it would, actually. Nose tackle. So we're going from the 5 to the 1 or 0 technique. Isaiah Buggs, Benito Jones, Broderick Martin, rookie, and Chris Smith, rookie. Isaiah Buggs.
Average starter.
He came on strong, but I still don't know whether I'm willing to put him in that bucket. Go quality backup, I think. Ideally, I don't think a team would have him as a starter. Any team.
No, but we do. Maybe so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for average starter. The replacements and average starters need white text, says Dan Pask. Maybe I can make the whole thing white text when we actually pick them. Right. Benito Jones.
Replacement level.
Yeah. I can back that.
Yep, I'm with you. All right. Defensive tackle. This is 3 technique showing inside versatility. Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, Christian Covington, and Corey Durden, rookie. Aleem McNeil.
Quality starter.
Yes, quality starter. Levi Onwuzurike. Incomplete.
Incomplete.
I feel harsh just throwing him because I've never seen a minute.
Yeah, fortunately.
All right, Christian Covington.
Replacement level.
Yeah, it kind of has to be, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Considering how he got him. And Corey Durden is a rookie. Now on the rush end, so this is the 7 to 9 technique, stand-up pass rusher. Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Zach Morton, rookie. Aiden Hutchinson.
I want to say roster cornerstone because where we picked him, the position he plays, and that one thing we're going to build the defense around him as a roster cornerstone, but at the same time, can we give him that after 1 year?
Yes, we can. Cornerstone.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I would say, considering everything that was said about him in the draft process, that you have to achieve this as a minimum to be worth a pick. He achieved it last year. Just by the skin of his teeth, he achieved it. So I think that basically backs it up. Is he worth... How much more is he worth than Chase Young? Like, just saying. Charles Harris.
Average starter. Same bucket as like Romeo for me.
I'd argue that Romeo showed more. I would say quality backup. What would you say, Ryan?
I was between replacement and average. I don't think his ceiling was anywhere near Romeo's when they're both healthy. I'm not high on Charles. He was a flash in the pan.
I think his career to date, and then obviously the injured season last year, and that's bookmarked by one good year in the middle of it. Who's he going to be? We don't know. I would argue quality backup.
I can take, quality backup it is then.
We're never going to agree. Like I said, there's always going to be someone we're all wildly different on.
Oh, we're going up to one of them guys later.
Yeah, right. Okay, now we've got the Jack linebacker, which I'm going to stick in here first because it's kind of that pass rushing linebacker position that very often really should be regarded as a defensive lineman, to be honest.
Yeah.
In here, we've got James Houston and Julian Okwara, but I've also put in Derek Barnes here as a kind of projection because I don't see Barnes really making his way as an off-ball linebacker right now. I think the team very much are still trying to make that work, but Barnes is a blitzer. He's always been a blitzer. It's what he did in college. It's what he's done well for the Lions, but in coverage, he's been a liability, so I've put him in here. James Houston.
Quality starter at that role specifically.
100 snaps in his career, I would argue incomplete. Yeah.
Okay, incomplete is.
I don't know how we're going to use him this year. He could have been a one-hit wonder. I don't know.
True.
So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, with all of these, when the Locked On pod do it, so all the incomplete guys, when they actually go through it properly, all the incompletes, they give a value to as the floor of what they are right now. So if I maybe take this one step further when we're off the air and discuss all of these guys, there might be Jameson Williams, okay, he's incomplete, but argue his floor is quality backup. So we'll give him that valuation. So it's not just a blanket sort of we don't know or care. Like, we'll get into it eventually. Derek Barnes.
Incomplete. At that role, if we're putting him in here, he's incomplete because he hasn't done much of it.
Starter. I'm out on him. He's got too many flaws that I've seen yet to be fixed. So replacement level.
I would also argue replacement level.
Replacement level it is.
Yeah, I've seen enough.
He could have a big year. I think he needs a big year, to be honest.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He can trend up. He can definitely trend up. But yeah, Julian Okwara.
Yeah, I was about to say not rosterable.
I've kind of washed my hands of him. He's had chances and not taken them.
I would argue that he's had chances and taken them and been unlucky with injury. And for that reason, I'd give him practice squad level because I think there's something there. He just needs to have a chance to get healthy.
Yeah, I can be persuaded of that.
I can stash him, yeah. If we can stash him on practice squad, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be claimed, but what I'm saying is, would we put him on the practice squad if we were going to cut him? So
probably, yeah. Because we pick up injuries.
I've listed this as inside linebacker because the Lions basically play two inside backers, but this will officially be regarded as the will linebacker, despite the designation. And here I've got Alex Anzalone, Anthony Pittman, Trevor Nowaski, rookie, and Jalen Reeves-Mabin. I'm not really sure if it's the right designation for Jalen, but...
oh God, we needed a category called special teamer.
yeah, we do. Like you said, we can regard it as well as part of this process. We have done up to this point as well. Anzalone.
Average starter.
If
you're hitting me of average starter, he's the baseline of what you can go with for a year or two.
Anthony Pittman.
Practice squad level.
Correct.
Probably, yeah.
And then Nowaski's a rookie and Jalen Reeves-Mabin, I would argue is...
Replacement level.
I think taking into account his special team value, I would say that he's a quality backup given both the defensive play and practice squad play. And special teams play.
Yeah, I can go for that.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Ryan?
Go on then, yeah.
Oh, had to twist your arm for that one because I know you're itching to put him somewhere
I
else.
hate bringing him back. I don't even want him here. He's the epitome of everything that was wrong with 3 years ago. But here we are.
Here we are. Right. Last linebacker spot is the Mike mid linebacker. I've only got 2 names here, Jack Campbell and Malcolm Rodriguez. I don't like putting Malcolm here. I'd rather put him in the other role. But no one else apart from Alex Anzalone, who's the starting would go here, really. So I've put Malcolm here, which seems a bit unfair. But in either role, as Jack Campbell's a rookie, we don't rank him. Malcolm Rodriguez, what are you? And for me...
It's hard.
Average starter.
I would say...
I don't think he's any higher than average starter because I think he's limited.
I think he's limited, and I think he got exposed down the stretch. He was so good to start the year, but only from where expectations were. Like, for a 6th round pick, he did great. Okay, well, if your average starter is maybe a 2nd or 3rd round pick, okay, maybe he was at that level to start with, but he fell away. I would argue quality backup. Is he not a backup?
He is now. He's on that borderline between average starter and quality backup. I'll go.
I don't think he'd be a starter in any other team.
Maybe being a quality backup's more polite to him. Maybe that sounds better. Maybe that's fair.
All right.
Backup then.
Moving on to the DB room, starting with the nickel back role as it plays closer to the line than any of the others. And obviously with Gardner Johnson and Branch, it's difficult because they could both be regarded in either safety or nickel spot. But I've put them both in nickel, so it's CJ Gardner Johnson, Brian Branch, Chase Lucas, Starling Thomas V, who I gather is taking reps on the outside, but I really think he's going to have to make his money in the nickel role. And Stephen Gilmore is here too. Branch, Thomas, Gilmore, all rookies. CJ Gardner Johnson, I would argue.
Starter.
Correct, yeah. And then Chase Lucas, I would argue for incomplete, given he hasn't played at all.
Yeah.
All right. Outside cornerbacks, we have Emmanuel Mosley, Jaron Williams, Will Harris, Cam Sutton, Jerry Jacobs, and Khalil Dorsey. The 6 in that room. I've chosen to put in Savion Smith and Melifonwu both as safeties. I think that is where they're going to be playing this year. So, outside cornerbacks, Emmanuel Mosley. I would argue for average starter here.
I was about to say, yeah.
Jaron Williams seems to me incomplete, but probably verging on practice squad or not roster worthy. Practice squad? Okay, I'm happy for practice squad.
Yeah.
Will Harris, let the fun commence.
I'll let you guys go first before I make my case.
I would argue quality backup.
Thank God. Same.
I mean, I don't want to, but I have to agree that, in a backup role, he's
a good scenario as a backup.
Yeah, he is like your DB5, like DB6, where he could be like your 3rd, 4th safety and your 3rd nickel and your sort of 3rd, 4th outside corner. He's perfect for that role. Anything more outside, like maybe starting in the nickel because he did okay there last season, but if you just start at outside corner or safety for more than a game or two, issues.
Yeah. All right. Other corner spot, Cam Sutton.
Dare I say it? Quality starter. Past couple of seasons, he's shown it.
Yeah, he has. I don't know. I'm torn between quality and average.
It's hard, like say, a player that I've not seen in a scheme or fit to go off.
True.
I find. I'll say quality starter because I expect him to be the best corner we have this year. What it says about everyone else, I'll say he's the best.
All right, I'm with you. Quality starter, let's go. Jerry Jacobs, I would say, is a quality backup player.
I was actually going to say average starter.
Oh.
If he's your corner 2, I don't mind that. It's if he's corner 1 and he has to cover Justin Jefferson those kind of players week in, week out, there's issues. But if he's covering you like your Adam Thielens, your Chase Claypools, your Romeo Dubes, just to name the players in the division, I think he's decent at that sort of role.
I want him to be quality backup. I don't want to be in a scenario where he's starting.
I think what I would say about him is that I think he is at best a low-end starter. I don't think he is an average starter. I think he's a low-end starter. And so I think that's quality backup more than average starter.
Okay,
But
whatever I say feels like some sort of injustice to him.
Yeah, it does.
It does, yeah. He's that kind of guy.
I would say there is room for Jerry Jacobs to arrow up all the way to quality starter this season. Like
easily, yeah.
He definitely, if he gets the opportunity, and he probably will get the opportunity to play reps, that he can prove that he's good enough to do that. And you know that this team, the coaching staff, will give the reps to the people that deserve it. So he comes out there and proves it. He could absolutely get up there. Khalil Dorsey, the last one on this list.
Practice squad / incomplete.
I would argue not roster worthy potentially.
When I look about the others that I'm going to put on the practice squad, I'll say not roster worthy.
Not roster worthy, it is though.
All right, safety spots. Tracy Walker the third, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Savion Smith, Kirby Joseph, Brady Brees, and Brandon Joseph. I've not separated that out into free and strong because I basically think the nickelback role kind of covers that a little bit, and also it's split safety role. They basically have to play both, so there's no need for the designations. Tracy Walker is really hard.
Average starter.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Average starter.
Not the injury. I don't think we're
painful. It's painful because he's a really good guy.
I think when he got injured, he was the top of average starter, ascending and expected to be a quality starter for the next year, and then obviously he got injured, so I have to put him in the bucket I would have put him in before. I mean, we were on the fence about paying him or not.
True.
So
that says it all.
Ifeatu Melifonwu.
In this role, incomplete evaluation.
Incomplete, yeah. And the whole thing's been a mess. They've messed him around. I feel like it's I feel like he has to leave. He needs a fresh scenario, but right now, incomplete.
Savion Smith also feels incomplete to me.
Yeah.
He had some good reps, but not enough for me to put him at anything more than replacement level anyway.
Coming off such a serious injury, I don't know what we'll expect of him.
Exactly, yeah.
Kirby Joseph.
Average starter with the potential to become quality starter at the end of this season if he carries on.
I'm with you.
Oh, I was going to say cornerstone.
Oh, what? Really?
I'll take that. I will take that.
Really?
As the Kirby guy in this pod, I will take that.
Justify it, Ryan.
He has to be the guy this year. Like, he's going to be the guy people look to make players.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm average. That's what I'm saying. If his average starter right now, if he does it again, if he gets 5-6 interceptions again this year, he could rise to top of quality starter roster cornerstone. But right now,
I'm fine with quality starter. Like I say, I can agree with that. Like,
okay, I'll come up to quality starter. I think the thing with roster cornerstone is the way I view that designation is like I'm willing to pay you top of the NFL money. Like, that's what cornerstone is. And that I just can't say that about Kirby right now. But if he told me he was going to be paid like a top 25 safety, I'd still not like it. But I can kind of get there. So I don't hate that too much. Brady Brees feels incomplete.
Replacement level.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I feel like he hangs around. He's got enough to be active. And he plays special teams. So he's a replacement guy.
All right. Replacement level it is. And then Brandon Joseph, I mentioned, but he's a rookie. Core special teamers. So, not core special teamers, sorry. The actual special team designated players. So kickers, punters, long snappers. Kickers, Michael Badgley, Riley Patterson, John Parker Romo, rookie, Badgley.
Average.
Average.
Yeah, and I would argue that for Patterson as well.
Yeah, I was going to say they're both average. There's not a lot to take between them.
All right. Jack Fox is the only punter there, but I would argue for cornerstone status. And in fact, I think he is the highest paid punter in the NFL still.
Just would double check.
All right, no pushback. Good. Long snappers, Scott Daly, Jake McQuaid. I mean, can we really say? But Scott Daly, I guess I would say, do I have to? Average starter. Jake McQuaid, I would say, is probably replacement level.
Opposite way around.
You would say that Jake McQuaid is an average starter and Scott Daly is replacement level?
Yes. But again, banking on history, Jake McQuaid has made the Pro Bowl 4 times as a long snapper and has done it on playoff teams.
I mean,
Daly, why do you bring in a guy like McQuaid if you think Daly is an average starter and if McQuaid's nothing better than that, why bring him in? The team must think McQuaid has the chance to beat him out. So for me, they're either both quality backup or McQuaid's average starter and Daly's like replacement, like quality to replacement level backup.
Yeah, I don't hate the logic.
I'd say both replacement level because I think nearly all long snappers are.
All right.
Touche.
Do it.
Yeah, I can back
replacement
that.
level.
I can back that. They're both replacement.
It's a hard position because I feel like I'm being mean by saying what they do is easy or anyone can do it, but it's obviously not true.
Right, I'm just going to build something in so I can actually count the number of people.
We can count up, don't we, and see if we've been too hard.
That's actually not going to work. Okay, how am I going to find out how many people are on this roster to cut them? I don't know.
Spot Track have a roster tool.
It just depends whether I've actually missed anyone. So maybe
if I go into, there is a way. If I go to Lions,
I don't know why that doesn't count properly. I mean, I can just count them anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Let's do the 53-man roster prediction then. So go through position by position again. Now, having evaluated the entire roster, who do we think makes it or not? And I'll strike them through if they don't. So quarterbacks, Goff, Hooker, Sudfeld, Martinez.
Martinez don't make it. The other three do.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I mean, the rule makes it mandatory to carry 3 quarterbacks now, really. So
plus, and obviously Hooker is he's going to be NFI anyway, so
it's going to be NFI or PUP.
All right.
Yeah, well, it's NFI because it's like with JMO last year.
Yeah,
he'll qualify for that.
Let's assume everyone's fit, shall we?
Okay.
Just because otherwise it's not a fair exercise, I don't think.
So no Martinez, I'm gone.
Yeah, so yes. Montgomery, Gibbs, Reynolds, Ibrahim, Jefferson, Bell, Kabinda at running back. I would argue, unfortunately, not making it Kabinda, Bell, Jefferson, and I would carry 4 running backs.
I can back that. So there's Greg Bell.
Reynolds, Bell, and Jefferson don't make it.
And you think that Kabinda will make it?
Yes, because they just love him.
So you're going Montgomery, Gibbs, Ibrahim, Kabinda in the room?
Yeah.
Ash, what do you reckon, tiebreaker?
See, I'm stuck between the two of you. I would keep Reynolds and cut Kabinda because I think someone like Wright, Mitchell can do the sort of H-back role. Or even Laporta. Laporta's done it in college. Should we have tight ends who can do that role for us? If, unfortunately, Kabinda's out. Keep Reynolds as a sort of outside zone RB3.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tight ends. Laporta, Wright, Mitchell, Zylstra, Dees.
Zylstra and Dees out.
Yeah.
Me too. Wide receivers. Kind of hard to not put them all in just one bucket to do this. But anyway. I'll do them in their groups just so it breaks it down a bit. Reynolds, Green, Benson, Cotter.
Benson and Cotter are gone. Keep Reynolds and Green.
Yeah.
We're going to evaluate this when we've done all the obvious ones and see how many we've got. So,
yeah.
Why wide receiver? St. Brown, Raymond, Kennedy.
Kennedy goes back to the practice squad like he always does. Keep the other two.
Yeah, Kennedy goes.
The wide receiver, Jameson Williams, Marvin Jones, Maurice Alexander, Dylan Drummond.
Alexander and Drummond will go.
Go, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, JMO won't count towards the 53, so we can consider that when we get down there, I think. Offensive line, left tackle, Decker, Nelson, Paolo, Percher.
Decker stays, the others all go.
I agree. I don't think Nelson will make it.
No, I don't.
All right. Left guard, Jonah Jackson, Awasika, Galvin.
Galvin goes. Awasika can stick around for now.
Me too. Centre, Ragnar, Pirschbacher, Cecil. I would argue just Ragnar stays.
Yeah.
I think that with Glasgow providing centre versatility, I don't know whether they'll keep either of the other two.
Yeah.
All right. Right guard, Vaitai, Glasgow, Sorsdal, and Stenberg.
Only Stenberg goes. Keep the other three.
Me too.
Stenberg and Sorsdal go for me.
You think Sorsdal doesn't make it?
Yeah.
Ooh, I would argue to keep Ash. It'd be
Yes,
close. I think he'll be on the fringe. I think he'll be has in a battle to make it. But
yeah, it's sort of like right guard 3, backup right tackle, potentially backup left tackle. So he's played that in college, and he can be the 6th man in the packages. He just and field goals, like field goal unit as well. He can probably make it for that.
Right tackle, Sul Ifedi Swoboda.
Swoboda goes. Keep the other two.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 1, 3, 4, 7, 9, 11, 15, 18, 21, 23, 25 players on offense, which is too many, I think. Right, on defense, big end, Aquara, Pascal, Kaminsky. Keep all 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
Getting close.
Romeo's in trouble, but they'll keep him.
Nose tackle, Bugs, Jones, Martin, Smith.
Jones and Smith go. Keep Bugs and Martin.
Yeah. You clearly like him about Martin. He ain't going nowhere.
3 tech, McNeil, Onzarike, Covington, Durden.
Levi and Durden go. Covington, I'm on the fence about.
So Covington in or out?
In.
All right. Yeah, Onzarike probably will be on IR. So, IR or not on the 53 is the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to make the 53 to go to IR, so someone won't make it in your place if they want to keep him. I actually think there's a chance he'll be cut outright. But we'll see.
Levi, yeah.
Rush end, Hutchinson, Harris, Morton. I think with Harris, sorry.
Morton goes to practice squad. The other two stay for now.
I think Harris will make it basically because we guaranteed him more money. And so it just makes it harder to cut him. But he's only taking... If he didn't take the wage cut, he would be gone already, I think.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Jack, Roll, Houston, Barnes, Aquara. Aquara goes?
Aquara's definitely gone. Barnes, again, I'm on the fence about.
I'm on the fence for Barnes, actually.
I think Barnes gets another year.
Mike Backer, Campbell, Rodriguez both stay.
Both stay easily.
And inside linebacker, Anzalone, Pittman, Nowaski, Reeves, Mabin. I would say
Pittman and Reeves Mavin go.
Ooh, I think you need to keep on.
I've heard really good things about Nowaski in camp. He's showing out on special teams, and he has supposedly shown up in run fit drills. For obviously, it's not pads aren't yet, so it could be he can get absolutely blown out of water come training camp. But I've heard good things about him, so he could take up that Reeves Mavin role on special teams while providing a bit more on defense.
All right, I can go for that too. And actually, I guess Barnes can take up one of the special team roles if you keep him.
I'm thinking Barnes, Rodrigo, because he's really good on special teams. We've got a member, and then Iwasaki as the sort of like free special team linebackers with Campbell and AA as you sort of started inside guys.
Part of me actually wants to get rid of Pittman, Nowaski, and Reeves-Maybin. Is that too brutal?
Yes, because we're one injury away from having to either slide Barnes or Houston back to linebacker, which they're not good at.
All right. But you would keep Nowaski?
Yeah.
Ryan?
The other one I keep, Pittman and JRM. Get out.
And that's me saying that as like one of Reeves maybe 2 years ago was one of my favorite players. I wanted to re-sign him to a cheap contract, and now we've got other players.
Yeah. All right. Cornerbacks. Mosley, Williams, and Harris as a 3 I'll take. So I will say Williams goes and Mosley and Harris stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other side...
We've got to bear in mind with Harris, he actually costs more against the cap to cut than he's currently contracted because the whole special thing to do with the...
This is basically uncuttable at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
And other side of the cornerback room, Sutton, Jacobs, Dorsey. And I would just say Dorsey goes.
Yeah.
Dorsey goes.
Nickelback, Gardner Johnson, Branch, Lucas, Thomas, Gilmore.
Lucas, Thomas, Gilmore, all go.
I agree.
Only Lucas and Gilmore go for me. Thomas makes it because he's can stay outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, Starling,
I might keep him. Unfortunately, I chase Lucas. I love him. I don't think he's got any future here, unfortunately.
Right. Safeties, Walker, Melifonwu, and Savion Smith. I would argue that Melifonwu, I think, will still be given a chance.
Yeah.
But I think Smith will go. Seems unfair to him, but...
The injury might be a bit too much for him to overcome.
Sorry, you think what, Ryan?
I think they'll all stay.
Ooh.
Ash, what do you think?
Yeah. The team must see something in Savion if they're going to re-sign him. So right now he stays.
On the other safety position, Kirby Joseph, Brady Breeze, Brandon Joseph.
Joseph goes.
Joseph unfortunately goes.
I don't think
Brady goes as well. Brady don't practice squad. I think Brady and Joseph go.
I was about to say, I don't think we carry 5 safeties. So I think 2 have to go from that group of 6. Yeah. So I'm with Breeze and Joseph going. Okay. No. Kicker. I'm going to have to put the leader in the clubhouse as Patterson, personally.
Yeah, because we just traded for him. So I can see that.
I don't like it, but... I was pissed when we let him go last year because I thought it was better kicker historically. But
only Patterson will stay because Badgley will get picked up. Parker Robo can go on the practice squad.
Jack Fox is not contested, and then Scott Daly or Jake McQuaid. Who cares?
McQuaid for me. McQuaid.
Yeah, I could go for McQuaid.
I'm thinking between my 2 favourite children. I can't choose.
Okay, so let me count how many this is.
Daily for last year's.
Actually, I'm sure, Ash, we've probably gone too quickly for you with the tool, haven't we?
Yeah, to be fair, the spot track tool doesn't have some of the contracts on, unfortunately. So
okay, so
it's a big rip.
In terms of the numbers, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 on defense.
That means we're at 51 because we're 25 on offense, and the 3 special teamers, so we're at 54.
We need to cut 1 player.
No.
Anyone we really didn't like, not really didn't like keeping, but didn't think we had to. I think people on the bubble here, I'll throw out some names. Our seeker, Sorsdal Ifedi. One of the pass rushers, so Kaminsky, Harris, Pascal. No, not Pascal. Aquara. I don't like getting rid of any of them because they rework their deals to make it difficult. Nowaski, I think, stands out to me. And then Savion Smith or Melifonwu, Starling Thomas. Those appear to be the only
Reynolds.
candidates. Cool Down Rack just said we have 11 DBs, question mark.
I'll get rid of Antoine Green.
Yeah, it could be a shout. Hang on, so we've got
Reynolds.
1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 6 wide receivers, and that's with Jameson Williams. We've got Jameson Williams, and he's not going to be on the team for the first.
Or we can
games.
say Hooker's going to NFI as well.
Yeah, presumably we might replace him with Adrian Martinez, so to make it up to 3 for that. But with Jameson not on there, and then we have to cut one of these guys halfway through the season.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. All right, cool. If you've got any thoughts, people in here, then please let me know. Dan said the split often goes 26 on defense because more are used on special teams, but this year feels pretty even. Antoine Green is said to be good at special teams. Potentially.
He is,
Kool-Aid Kid said, the fact that as a Lions fan, I wish we could keep more than 53 is a step in the right direction. He was annoyed when Glasgow was allowed to walk a few years ago. So in a few short years, we went from deciding which turds to keep to deciding which gems to lose, which is pretty sweet. Any thoughts from that exercise, boys, on how we did? Are you happy with that that squad so far?
For the most part, yeah. Like, wide receiver still might be an issue, but tight end we're good at. Quarterback we're happy with. Running back, we could have easily kept one of Jamar, Bell, or Kabinda. O-line depth
maybe worries me a bit.
Yeah, linebacker's still a worry, but we know this team really well. Say wouldn't value it, but we just drafted a first-round linebacker. But the depth there worries me, but it's not really prioritized in the scheme. Even though we drafted Campbell, linebacker coach came out and said we're a 2 linebacker team, so having 4 or 5 there is okay. We can get by with that. But we're definitely in a better place than like 12 months ago. If we did this exercise 12 months ago, we'd be a lot more iffy. Like Kirby would probably say was quality. I would say quality backup for him 12 months ago. Iffy would have been incomplete. Well, still would have been incomplete. We wouldn't have CJ Garn-Johnson. We wouldn't have Hutchinson. It's definitely got a lot. We've gone a long way into even 12 months, let alone the past 2-3 years.
Just totaling up the totals of the entire roster, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see, just doing the not roster worthy people at the moment. 1, 2, 3 of those. I don't know if I've added them up right. I might be one out, but it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I'm getting this tool up as
I've got 88. I must have missed a couple somewhere, but oh well. From the 88 I've counted, I maybe miscounted slightly, but 5 roster cornerstones, 8 quality starters, 11 average starters, 9 quality backups, 9 replacement level players, 10 incomplete evals, 22 rookies, 11 practice squad players, 3 not roster worthy players out of the ones that I've managed to count. And out of those that made it, I haven't actually added those up yet, but having 24 players regarded as average starters or better sounds like a massive improvement on 2 years ago. Huge improvement.
Yeah. Massive. It's even having the roster cornerstones. Who did we have a couple of years ago we could say that about? Jack Fox. That's about it. Maybe Romeo a couple of years ago when he was coming off the back-to-back 10 sack seasons.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the interesting thing about maybe doing this exercise each year, is using it as a kind of measuring stick, because it's hard to think back to last year and think about where we were, because, God, I mean, Jeff would have been potentially...
Jeff and Alana. Let's say would have been the 2 starting corners.
And Jeff might have been in complete evaluation, potentially. Like, I don't think I'd have felt comfortable putting him in any other bucket. Potentially Decker would have been a roster cornerstone, and he's kind of regressed slightly, but you wouldn't have Amon-Ra in there. Goff you'd have as maybe average starter.
Yeah.
Swift you'd have in there as average starter, maybe.
Average starter, yeah.
It definitely feels like we've taken a step.
100%.
I mean, look at Jamal, like, God, I'd have probably said he was average, if I'm totally honest, Jameson Williams. Because it was never going to be a cornerstone, was it? But he was just good at what he did.
It feels a bit cheap getting a roster cornerstone in by having a punter in as one of them, but I don't care. I do not care.
Well, he's not a punter. He's a field position optimization specialist.
Yes. I'm just trying to see if we've cut anyone unexpected or kept anyone unexpected. I can see that we've kept Nate Sudfeld, who I think is the only practice squad level player we've kept. Scanning this, it looks like that's right.
Yeah.
Plenty of incomplete evals we've kept. Average starters 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This is great podcasting. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 average starters. So the only average starter we're cutting, according to this, is Michael Badgley, which seems about right.
Yeah.
Quality backups. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're cutting quality backup and Jalen Reeves-Mabin.
I can put that.
1, 2, 3. Out of the replacement level players, we're cutting 5 down from 9 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of the incomplete evals of the 10, we've got rid of 4 to get down to 6. Rookies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've gone from 22 rookies to 9. And then we're keeping 1 practice squad level player and none of the not roster worthies. And that gets us to 51. Why can't I count?
We need to bring 2 back.
I've just found a player we missed.
Yeah.
Abina Eze.
Oh, yes. Put him in at right tackle. I'd argue for incomplete.
Incomplete, yeah. It's just because I've finally got that spot track.
Incomplete, and I'd also argue cut. Oh, well, practice squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So, using this tool, it doesn't have Branch, Gibbs, Efedi, or Laporta's contracts in there for some reason. But with all the transactions we've done, 26 mil in caps. Well, yeah, 26 mil in cap, 26.83 million in cap space. But with let's say with Branch, Gibbs, Efedi in there, that's probably 8 mil. So it's about 18 million in cap space we'd have to play with in season for like a Jonah extension or IR moves and such.
I'm annoyed at myself that I can't make this fit, but I'm going to not waste any more time on this, and I'll do it in my own time to try and get this right. El Juddman coming and subscribing with Prime. 6 months. Appreciate you, man. That makes a big difference to us, so thank you very much. Boys, any final thoughts before we check out this one?
Hopefully some of those incompletes are complete by the time we get to week 1. I would like to nail some of those down by now, or by then.
Yeah,
Ash?
same.
Yeah?
Yeah, same.
All right. Our next episode is our 200th episode. I don't believe we're going to have any agenda whatsoever. And I'm hoping is going to be back for that episode. I know that he is potentially on holiday and somewhere down my neck of the woods. Maybe. I don't know. But I think we're going to have Luke G on. And we might have some others too. But an incredible milestone for us, and thank you for being here for all of that. I hope that you guys can join us for that. Otherwise, College Podcast CUSA episode I think is on Wednesday, so go ahead and check that out with Ant and Rye. Otherwise, our socials are all the Lions UK on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Group for Worldwide Fans, Teacher at Lions Fans UK, One Pride Worldwide. There's the raffle there for a signed jersey from Barry Sanders, so if you want to get in on that, have a go on that Facebook group. On the web, we're at rotluk.com. Subscribe and rate us 5 stars there if you can. Grandad said have a live stream Q&A with your viewers. Yes, that's the plan. So we will be doing that, and I hope we can see you all there too on Monday, June the 4th. If I can add up properly, I think that's right. 5th. I can't add up. There we go. Anyway, thanks to Ryan and Ash for this one. It's been a long one, but it's been another good one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For now, let's go Lions One Pride.
One Pride.
Recording stopped.
And I haven't had any questions during the show, and I don't know whether... I don't think Chris is live yet for the POD cast, so I'm not going to move anyone on. Let's see if there's any other comments. I don't see anything there, so... Oh, Cool Down Rat said check your replacement level numbers. Replacement level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and making it 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4. Incomplete evals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right, incomplete eval was out by 1, and does that mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 making it? So that was out by 1. Still out by 2 here, which is really annoying me. Practice squad level players. Jameson Williams doesn't make it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 1 makes it, that's right. Cornerstone players, Brent, are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penny Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Aidan Hutchinson, Jack Fox. Grandizer said, another person subscribed, another person who's gone mad, lol. Thanks, man. Thought your replacement level equals 10 red, says Cool Down Rat. Replacement level
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh God.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Breeze, Barnes, Jones, Covington, Nelson, Obasika, Kabinda, Daly, McQuaid. 2,
9.
3,
Yeah, I've got
4,
9 as
5,
well.
6, 7, 8, 9. And then replacement levels in red at the bottom here. But
yeah, so 9, yeah.
I know it says on the 53 and it's actually 54, but whatever. Maybe it's the rookies because there's quite a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. No, that's right. And then who made it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. Got total roster right because that's at 90 now. So it's just counting the on the 53.
Yeah.
Yes, I should put this back up. Apologies. There we go. Thank you, Lisa.
I've linked the spot track because I've quickly inputted that for us and some like base values for the contracts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quality starters, and they all make it. Cornerstones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all make it. Average starters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've got 11 rookies making it, which makes it to 54. There you go.
Hang on, really?
Yep.
Branch,
So
Thomas, Campbell, Nowaski, Broderick is 5. Sawsdall, Green, Gibbs, Ibrahim, Hooker.
And then it's Laporta.
Oh, and Laporta missed it. 11.
11.
Oh, that's what it is. 11. Oh, right. I see.
Yeah. And then that gets it to 54.
Hey, we did it.
Right, I'm going to shoot.
I get why it's because the colour looks so similar to the incomplete, doesn't it?
Cool Down Rat said, thought your replacement level 10 is red. 2 times long snappers per equals 91.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9.
Kool-Aid Kid just said, and now we are back with Learning to Count with Ash and Matt. That was basically a show of Learning to Count. But so we have, in terms of players that are in replacement level, we have 4 and then a practice squad player. We've got 5 players potentially we could do better than.
Yeah.
And then 7 incomplete evals, the worst of which is potentially Craig Reynolds. Cheers, Ryan. We'll see you soon, mate. He's just said, Ryan. Gonna shoot sort Hank.
Yeah.
So
the incomplete ones, it's Mitchell, who showed flashes at the end of last year. He could probably, at worst, he'll be quality backup because he was like the best run block. He was the best blocker for the team, and he's got receiving upside. Reynolds, at worst, placement level backup.
Yes.
It's quite iffy Savion.
I guess
at worst, one of them's going to be replacement level because of special teams.
Maybe it is. Can Iffy play special teams?
Who? He's got to make the roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he can though. That's why I think his roster place might be under threat.
It's either him or Breeze.
Yeah, I would say, considering the practice squad stuff, that potentially Breeze maybe should have the upper hand, but I just think Melifon was the better quality player. Grandaz just said that is what you call a deep dive on the roster. All the names seems like a blur after a while. Very good. It is a blur, I must say, but I'm glad we've done it. We'll do it again next year, and we'll be able to we'll be able to have a look at it. Right. Got to start planning an anniversary show. It's going to be good.
Oh. Do we need to dress up for it?
I mean, Ant would say yes, I'm sure.
Oh, perfect. I'll dust off the cheerleader costume.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Dear Lord. And when you say you're going to do something, you normally do it as well, which is worrying. Oh, no.
It's either that or I've got an Aragorn costume because it's my best friend's birthday on Wednesday and she's having a Lord of the Rings themed party, so I've got an Aragorn costume.
Oh, I want to go.
If you can come up to Nottingham on Wednesday night, then yeah, sure.
Wednesday night. I don't think I can make it. I would consider getting a blonde wig and trying to do Legolas, yeah. That would be really cool. Actually, I'm too fat to be Legolas. I'd have to be Gimli despite my height.
Gimli's her favourite character.
Is it?
Yeah.
Grandeyes, can this be posted on the YouTube community section? I'm sure it will take a little bit of work, but I can do it.
There is, so if you share it, there's a way you can share it so it's view. So they will roll on there. But if anyone in this link, in the general access, you can click viewer and then get the link. And then you can just put it on communities, I guess, or we can do like a screenshot thing.
Anyone with this link, viewer. Oh, that will have just shown everyone's personal emails. Dole.
Oh, sugar.
Never mind. Please don't spam our guys.
Please don't. No, I get enough as it is.
Yeah, it's bad enough. Right. I will put that on the YouTube community chat. I should have moved over the tab. Never mind. Cool Down Rat said, if Ryan doesn't want a t-shirt with his girlfriend's face on it, can I have it? Kool-Aid Kid says, what are you pouring today, Matt? I had myself a can of Magnus Original Cider, which is not great, but it is cheap. And I am a basic bitch when it comes to alcohol, basically. You can get 18 cans of Magnus for $12.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So there's that. And then I had Pepsi and Bacardi spiced.
Oh.
Which was good. I enjoyed that very much. Right, YouTube community section. Let's find it. It's in here somewhere. I've tried to use it a little bit, and it's actually been really good, but I tend not to use it myself as a fan of stuff, so...
Yeah. The most part, for what I've seen of it, is Peter, like YouTubers posting polls of, which one do you want to see next? Like a reaction to Scream 6 or Everything Everywhere at Once kind of thing. Right,
I have posted in the YouTube community section of Raw the Lines UK the link to that spreadsheet, so you should all now be able to see that for yourself. And hopefully not email us while you're at it. Cool down Matt said, can Matt say well done Everton? I'll do more than that. I'll say I'm delighted that they made it. As most of you know, I'm a Liverpool fan, but the rivalries are what make football fun. So if you don't have your rivalry match, it's made all the worse for it. I live for going to watch Liverpool-Everton. I've never seen it, and I really, really want to see it. And so I'm delighted that they made it. And that team is too good to go down. It really is. Like, they've been shackled by some bad managers. I do not understand all this chat from people, and I will say Ant by name, saying they've not shown any ambition. And it's like, I'm sure you would say then that Chelsea also haven't shown any ambition because they've spent about the same amount. Like, Everton have spent loads of money on good players and it's not fair. But this is a team that used to flirt with Champions League quite a lot. In fact, in the year that Liverpool won the Champions League 18 years ago, Everton were 4th. And we gazumped them.
And we were 5th.
But were we 6th then? Were Liverpool 6th that year?
So it was
2005, 04-05. Liverpool 5th.
So
Villa 10th.
We were 10th. Oh. Yeah,
we gazumped Everton. Everton have been a mid-table Premier League team for quite some time with an arrow looking up until the last couple of years, and they've spent money to try and address it and it hasn't worked. So that doesn't mean they haven't been ambitious and tried. Like, much like a lot of the other teams around the Premier League, they've pumped a load of money into the team. So, yeah. Kool-Aid Kid says, Aline, most improved player?
In the past season, from where we had him last season to where we think about now, he's really good at the one tech and he's made his own, the free tech his own. So that's definitely improvement from last year. But I was like, if we move into free tech, I don't know, and we still need someone at one tech. It's his own role now.
I think the Bugs would have a good shout to be most improved player. I think he went from not great to definitely average starter level.
Then Kamish. Then for me, it's Kamish.
Oh, Kamish. Yeah, easy. Kamish was fantastic down the stretch.
Because Kamish came in. I remember when he came in, everyone was like, oh, what we got this guy for? So he could play big defensive end. We'll wait for Aqua and wait for Pascal to get up to speed, and he can do special teams. And now look at him. He's sort of seen as one of our best defensive linemen.
I don't think there's many other people I would call most improved on the basis of year-to-year improvement, because it takes out people like Houston and it takes out people like Amon-Ra. I guess maybe Amon-Ra should be within a shout there because he went from surprisingly good 4th-round pick with high upside to cornerstone in 1 year.
Yeah. I know slot receivers aren't the most valuable, but he's borderline top 10 in the NFL wide receiver.
He's gonna get above $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Which is scary. He might be the highest paid slot receiver in the NFL. Oh, actually, no. I guess
Super Cup.
I guess Hill is technically a slot receiver as well, isn't he?
He plays more outside these days now. I'm looking at Cup's contract. Cup contract.
Terry Hoffman says, good job. Cheers, Terry. Appreciate you.
Cheers. Cup is 2023 average 15.75 million for Cup. His current contract. Amon-Ra's getting more than that.
Amon-Ra will be the top paid slot wide receiver in the NFL very shortly.
Yeah.
Cool Down Rat said, is Aleem slimmed down to 290 like a new player? I mean, it's not a player that existed before. And basically, he's becoming Levi at that weight.
Yeah, so Levi. Seeing what he came into the combine at. Doesn't even have it. Great. Great. Levi is listed at 133 kilograms.
I think he's 289 or 291 or something like that.
293.
Yeah, so it's pretty damn similar.
Yeah.
In fact, Aleem slimmed down to if he's 290, he's lower than Levi, which is crazy.
Yeah, that too. Oh,
Yeah, don't worry.
jeez. He is 131 kg. That's and as I said earlier, like he was already known as Twinkle Tones by the team when he was like at one tech weight. So imagine how much quicker he's gonna be at that weight.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. Grandad said, R.I.P. Tina Turner. Do the lads have a favourite song of theirs? I mean, I always loved The Best. I know that's her biggest, but I don't care. It's such a great song.
Look What's Love's got to do with it for me. I was at a barbecue with my friends when the news broke and we literally put it on. And then I was talking about Thunderdome and no one understood what I was going on about and I was very upset.
I don't know either. Sorry.
You don't know about Mad Max Enter the Thunderdome?
No. I don't really watch films. Sorry, like, I'm going to annoy people a lot when we talk about films, because I have my culty ones that I do watch, and then I don't watch standard ones. I've never seen Godfather or Scarface or anything like that, which I know people love. Kool-Aid Kid said, did you tear up?
Me?
Yeah.
Tiny bit. I'm easy to... I do get very emotional.
Yeah, right. Grandad said, wow, Thunderdome rules. So there we go.
Yes, right. Finally.
Folks, we're going to draw this one to a close because it's been going on a while. Thank you for being here with us for the last 199 episodes. Next week, 200. If you've got questions, save them up, join us live, and pummel them with us on that, because it's going to be a really great show. Can't wait for it. It's going to be really, really cool. Frogbuck said, not mad at you. I don't watch much of anything but sports. So there we go. Appreciate it. But yeah, we'll see you for episode 200 in just a week's time. See you soon.
See you guys.